Hey, all right, there we go. We are live. Doing a little preview for the Richmond race. I have broken down all the numbers. I am fresh back from Orange County Speedway, where we finished second this weekend. So, pretty good weekend for us. Didn't get to see much of the truck race, sort of following along on social media and NASCAR, whatever, with timing and scoring, NASCAR website, I guess. What's up, Sam Deloche, Team Penske, DG, KBF fan, KB fan, KFB with the top 10. And get into that, but it looks pretty strong. Stu Putty said the truck race was terrible. Yeah, the only thing I really took away from the truck race was that Lane Riggs needs to get a new pit crew. Oh my goodness. This is the second weekend that he's raced with that team, and they've had a 30-plus second pit stop. They have taken him out of contention for 2 wins now, especially a guy paying that much money for just a few starts. And it showed that he was running top 5 both times, or at least top 10 both times before they took him out of the race with those pit stops. I guess they're in a competition with 2311 as to who can have the worst pit crew this year. But that being said, that's all I saw or took away from the truck race, because I couldn't see it. Because like I said, we were at Orange County Speedway racing late models. Finished second, so that was pretty cool. First time car with my logo on it has finished that high. Obviously, we've gotten wins, but those cars didn't have my logo on them. So that was cool and that was fun. As a Blaney fan, nervous for today. Richmond is a 3/4 mile Texas. Yeah, it doesn't always put on the greatest show. It didn't used to always be like that, but it is definitely turned into that now for sure. Love to see the Blaney Advance. Yeah, that's a good looking car. I like the Blaney Advance car too. We'll love to see that win, said Sam Deloach. Corey LaJoy said, I think Blaney and Truex both missed the playoffs. All right. So, yeah, we're going to get into that too as well. Sure wish NASCAR would be on the main network more often. I don't have USA. Yeah, that stinks, man. I hate it for the people that don't have USA. Thumbs up for the video, or you'll feel guilty all day, said Robin Marks. Yeah, I do appreciate the thumbs up. But with that, let's jump into it. Since 2019, and of course, this is for entertainment purposes only, Martin Truex Jr. has 3 wins. Alex Bowman has 1 win. Brad Keselowski has 1 win. And James Dennis Allen Hamlin has 1 win as well. So those are your previous winners since 2019, of course. So that's going to give an obvious advantage to the way I score things, because they have wins. Martin Truex, let's go to top 5s now, and you're going to start to see a clear favorite emerge. And by the numbers, and I'll just go ahead and spoil it now, Martin Truex is going to be your clear favorite by the numbers for this race. So this could be the race where he punches his ticket. But Martin Truex has 6 top 5s. Denny Hamlin has 5 top 5s. Joey Logano has 4 top 5s. Christopher Bell has 2 top 5s. Kevin Harvick with 2 top 5s. Chase Elliott with 2 top 5s. Brad Keselowski also with 2 top 5s. And in a multiple way tie with 1 top 5 apiece are Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Austin Dillon. Mr. Top 10. If he was racing in a different era, he would be a different guy, but this playoff era does not suit Austin Dillon. Mr. shows up at the end with a top 10. Doesn't work for this system. But those were top 5s. Let's now go to top 10s, where your leader in that category is actually going to be Kyle Busch, but he's tied with Martin Truex. Like I said, Martin Truex is going to be your clear favorite here by the numbers. They both have 6 top 10s apiece. Kevin Harvick has 5 top 10s, tied with Denny Hamlin for 5 top 10s. Austin Dillon with top 10s. So he is going to be, once again, like if you want to, I guess, a lower tier guy for your fantasy lineup, Austin Dillon is going to be that mid tier guy, because he just top 10s you to death. And every once in a while will threaten for the win, but not as often as you would like him to if you're an Austin Dillon fan. Joey Logano also with 4 top 10s. And in a multiple way tie with 3 top 10s apiece is Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, who's also a good sneaky pick here. I'm going to get to that later. And Christopher Bell. They were all tied for 7th with 3 top 10s apiece. And now to more detailed numbers for your fantasy guys and for those guys who like to pick top tens and top fives and top threes. Average finish with an average finish of 2.3. That is an amazing statistic. Since 2019, of course, is Martin Truex Jr., followed by average finish of 4.2 for Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano has an average finish here of 6.8. Kyle Busch has an average finish here of 7.0. Brad Keselowski has an 8.7 finish. Kevin Harvick has an 8.7 finish. Chase Elliott with a 10.5 average finish, and Austin Dillon also with a 10.5 average finish. Those are pretty strong numbers. And your 11th and 12th guys are going to be Alex Bowman with an 11.4 average finish, not too shabby, and Kyle Larson, your pole sitter, with an average finish of 14.4. All right, now on to a statistic I like to look at if you're trying to pick a winner or your top three guy. Laps led. This is a pretty good statistic. It did me pretty good last year. And even though it's a new car, I think these have still pretty much held up. And to no one's surprise, he's won 3 races here. Martin Truex Jr. has led 562 laps. That puts him number 1. But the second place guy is not too shabby himself. James Dennis Allen Hamlin has a 454 laps led. He's in second place. Kyle Busch is third with 348. Brad Keselowski with 337 is in fourth place. Joey Logano, 147, fifth. Ryan Blaney with 128 is in sixth. And William Byron, 122 is in seventh. And then guys who are under 100 but have led laps would be Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, and Austin Dillon. Like I said, Austin Dillon's going to be a good fantasy pick here. So let's go look at what they did in qualifying, and then I will get to my breakdown of numbers. Kyle Larson qualified first, Ross Chastain second, Denny Hamlin is third, William Byron fourth, Alex Bowman fifth, Martin Truex Jr. sixth, Cole Custer seventh. Cole Custer finally has some speed. Hopefully they don't mess him up on pit road. Brad Keselowski eighth, Eric Jones ninth, Ryan Blaney is 10th, Bubba Wallace 11th, and Austin Dillon is 12th. So if you break down how I score it, you've got Martin Truex as your clear by the numbers favorite, followed very closely by Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano also have to be in that mix. So those would be your top 4 by the numbers. But some guys who are going to be sort of sleepers here that could yield you good results for entertainment purposes only. If you're doing that type of thing, or if you're just trying to plug in some random fantasy guys to save guys for later on in the season, Brad Keselowski is actually 5th on the way I scored this deal. Kevin Harvick and Christopher Bell tied for 6th. Chase Elliott is going to be your 8th best guy here. And then look at this here. Austin Dillon and Alex Bowman are tied for 9th. So that would be a good pick here. Kyle Larson, even though he got the pole, he's down here in 11th, and William Byron is down here in 12th. So that is the way I scored it. And the way I scored it there, if you look at the DraftKings odds, if you're doing that for entertainment purposes only, would be Martin Truex Jr. at plus 550. My second place guy would be Denny Hamlin at plus 650. Kyle Busch is at plus 1,000. Joey Logano is sitting at plus 2,000. And here's a really interesting one here. Brad Keselowski. He qualified well. He showed that he can race here well. He is at plus 6,000, not the worst pick in the world, plus 1,500 for a top 3 and plus 800 for a top 5. That would certainly be a guy I would be very interested in. Kevin Harvick at plus 1,500, Christopher Bell at plus 1,200, Chase Elliott plus 1,200, Austin Dillon plus 6,000. But if you're going to pick him for a top 3, he's plus 800. Or top 5, I'm sorry. If you're going to pick him for a top 5, he's plus 800. Top 3, which I would stay away from because he's a top 10 guy. But top 5, I could definitely see him doing plus 800. Alex Bowman is also going to be I didn't write his down. Oh, well. Alex Bowman is somewhere in there, but he's going to be around the plus 5,000 range, 3,000 to 5,000, if I'm guessing. Kyle Larson is plus 650. And the reason they made Kyle Larson plus 650 is when Kyle Larson qualifies on the pole, he has a much better chance of winning than normal. So that is why his odds are skewed that way. So keep that in mind. But on this list, Kyle Larson was only the 11th best driver, and William Byron at plus 1,200 is 12th on this list. So there are your odds. And obviously, by the numbers, if I'm picking, you got to look at Martin Truex here. And the other thing I would say here is the top 3 out of the 4 guys at this track are all in Toyotas. So this is a Toyota track. So Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, all good solid picks here. And Joey Logano, definitely a good solid pick. And I would throw Brad Keselowski in there as my sleeper. But those are my picks. So let me know down below who you think is going to win this race. But that is basically the preview. I will leave this up here because I might have to touch on these statistics later. But I thought that was really interesting that Brad Keselowski, I had no idea he was so good here. And Austin Dillon surprised me too. I mean, we know Austin Dillon sneaks in there and gets top 10s, but I wasn't expecting him to be quite this good. I don't really remember him being like that good at this track as a guy that keeps up with RCR and Richard Petty Motorsports pretty closely. I missed that one. So will fully admit that I did not know he was that good here. But Brad Keselowski really jumped out at me. I was surprised by that. All right, while you guys put in who you're picking here, I'm going to read some of these ones I missed while I was going through all that. We will start here. Team Penske fan, I also love the body armor car. Yeah, that thing looks really good. And they're doing a Dutch boy paints or something on Austin Cindric's car as far as the Penske cars go. That thing looks pretty cool too. I think it's Austin Cindric's car. It's one of the Penske cars though, doing the Dutch boy thing. It's pretty cool looking. The Bologna Burger recipe for the Bologna Burger was fire. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Bumblebee. Yeah, that thing. I actually had one at Ace Speedway this weekend for the Cars Tour race. I was up there doing that deal. And that thing, that's probably the best bologna burger I've had at a racetrack in a long time. Ace Speedway has a new recipe, or they've gotten a new distributor for their bologna. They really started taking it seriously. That's the best bologna burger I've had in a while. I'm not going to lie to you. Orange County and South Boston have kind of fallen off. I feel like their bologna burger is kind of overrated at this point. I know it's blasphemy for me to say that because my channel is named that, but Ace Speedway definitely has the best bologna burger right now. That thing was on point. I will give them credit. Almost looked as good as Bumblebee's that she posted on Twitter. Let's see. I'm not an Austin fan. I think he gets good cars, which is why he can place, but not pushing that very edge. That's a very fair criticism. Is he racing for top 10s? Is he not out there just hanging it on the ragged edge like Tyler Reddick is? Is that why you see such a performance gap in those two? Is he playing it safe? Because I think you can basically make that argument for a few drivers. You can make that argument sometimes for Eric Almirola, right? Eric Almirola, he's another guy that just top 10s you to death. But could he hang it out there sometimes and maybe get wins? It's hard to say. I mean, unless you're sitting in that race car, you never know, right? So, but that is a fair criticism. He always gets a top 10, but he's never really pushing for laps led and things like that. But unless you're sitting in that car, you don't know. Let's see. The race will be very boring, said Dawson Bedell. That's typically in recent memory what's happened to Richmond. I remember back in the day, Richmond put on some good races, but recently not so much. I also think it really stinks that they made this a day race. Richmond night races are cool. Both, if you're going to have 2 races at Richmond, they should both be at night, in my opinion. Especially in the summertime because it's hot as fire out there. People are going to get sunburnt and dehydrate. It's just, I don't know, not my favorite to do it in the daytime at a short track. Brad Hill, love the channel. I appreciate it, Brad. Robin Marks, I'm calling Keselowski. I like that pick, Robin Marks. I was surprised by his statistics here for sure. I love to see BK for the win. What's up, Bert? Gosh, can't even say my own name. What's up, B Burger? Hope you're having a good Sunday. I am, Enzo. I appreciate it. Thanks for the shout out. What's up, BB? Said Angus 420. What's up, Angus? Corey LaJoy, Custer, Keselowski, and Jones all qualified top 10. They might get a win if everything goes right, just like Harvick last week. Yeah, so Eric Jones, his numbers didn't look spectacular here, so that concerns me, especially because this is seemingly a Toyota track. Now, I think he probably ran into some trouble. I didn't obviously have time to go through a detailed analysis. So he would concern me, but Cole Custer and Brad Keselowski would not concern me here because it's also a Ford track. The bottom two in that top five are both Fords, so it's definitely a Ford track too. I would definitely see Keselowski and Custer threatening for a win here. Custer, of course, doesn't have enough statistics behind him to be on this list quite yet. Oh, Angus 420 is going with Ty Gibbs. That's a good pick. Ty Gibbs obviously has no numbers at this track, so that's a good. He's in a Toyota. He's fast, and Bubba Wallace qualified 11th, so we know those cars probably have speed too. It's a Toyota track. Ty Gibbs isn't a terrible pick here. And Angus 420 said that would really screw with the playoffs. Yeah, for sure, it would be a different winner, but it really wouldn't matter, right? So yeah, I'd bet Keselowski has great odds. Said Robin Marks. Yeah, I think so too. I think I would put for entertainment purposes only a few monopoly dollars on him. I wouldn't go crazy with it, but it wouldn't be the most wild thing. Angus 420 says, "What is the Cars Tour?" The Cars Tour is the development division a lot of people take right before they move up to trucks. It's where Josh Berry came from. It's where Sam Mayer came from. Ty Gibbs raced in it right before he went to what is it, ARCA. So pretty much before ARCA or trucks, people just race ARCA to get your super speedway license. So I just say this is basically the thing you do before trucks, and then you race whatever ARCA races you got to race to get your super speedway license. But that's what the Cars Tour is. It's a touring late model series. So you'll see a lot of, and there's more people that have come through it than that, but those are just the ones off the top of my head that have come through it. It used to be called the Hooters Cup Series. USAR Hooters Cup is now the Cars Tour, touring late model division. So that is what the Cars Tour is. It is a really elite late model division. And Jonathan Schaefer did something pretty rare. He qualified on the pole, led every single lap, and won that race. So Jonathan Schaefer, very young kid. I don't know how old he is, but he's not very tall and he looks very young. So he could, for all intents and purposes, be like 15 or 16, maybe younger than that. But he or he could be older and just not tall. But he definitely put on a clinic. He's definitely not 20 yet. I can tell you that. Let's see, not a Cindric fan, but it's Burton's with Dutch Boy. Oh, that's what it is. Also, I mean, I know it's Wood Brothers, but they are also a Penske deal. But Jeff Burton is running the Dutch Boy. That thing looks really good. I also cheer for the 21. That's basically a Penske car. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, that Dutch Boy 21 car looks really good. And the Wood Brothers always have a good looking car, and that's just another one. That classic Wood Brothers is always a good look, for sure. Can we talk about how I'm not talking about that James Hankin? Let's see. Bob Puckett, yeah, man, BK, if he wins, that would definitely shake things up worse than last week. Yeah, for sure. This is definitely a track where Brad Keselowski can win. Thanks, Bob Puckett, for that. Brad Keselowski definitely has a chance to win here. His numbers are great for this track, and if he can pull this off and get this win, that will just completely shake up the playoffs. And I'm here for it. I would love to see somebody like that. If it's not Brad, I would love to see one of those other guys like Cole Custer or Eric Jones or one of those other guys who qualified up there that is not necessarily locked into the playoffs get that win. Ryan Blaney definitely has a chance, but he would. I guess that wouldn't really shake it up because he's technically second in points, right? So I would love to see somebody like that win and lock in. And like I said, this is a Martin Truex Jr. track too. He does not have a win yet, so he could lock himself in. He's technically out of the playoffs right now as well. So I think that would be a cool deal if any of those guys could win. Like I said, I'm here for the chaos. I want the playoffs to have 17 different guys, or not 17 guys in. I want 17 different winners so that the playoffs get some scrutiny. Much deserved scrutiny, in my opinion. Finally getting live here. Breakfast Baloney. Go Harvick. Dwayne Mueller. Yeah, Harvick has decent statistics here. There's some guys in front of him, but on my list, Harvick was tied for 6th. So definitely a good pick. He could go back to back. Not the worst pick you can make. And if you remember in the early 2000s at RCR, this was definitely a Kevin Harvick track. So he knows how to get it done here. Not a terrible pick at all. Richmond is just a short cookie cutter now. I wouldn't mind trading Richmond for Wilkesboro. Well, yeah, that's not necessarily the worst idea in the world. Once they refurbish North Wilkesboro and get the stands and all that up to par, that probably wouldn't be a bad trade-off. Richmond would get one race, and then Wilkesboro would get the other one. I'm all four tracks other than Daytona and Talladega only having one race, because I think that gives you a chance to spread it out over many different regions. Richmond for Iowa, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, a lot of people want that Iowa track, so I definitely could see that being something that happens. Kevin S said, "What's up, Baloney? Going for Larson, but Truex might get this one." I'm with you, Kevin S. There's two statistics at odds there. When Kyle Larson qualifies on the pole, he typically has a really good chance of winning. And by the numbers, Martin Truex Jr. definitely just owns this track, at least recently. So those two statistics are definitely at odds for sure. There is no doubt about that. So if I had to lean one way or the other, I'm a Kyle Larson fan, so I would lean that way because I'm a Kyle Larson fan. But you can't go against Martin Truex Jr.'s numbers here. He's a very safe pick for a top three, I think, unless something mechanical happens, which is, for entertainment purposes only, of course. But he's definitely a safe pick for that. Underdog Bell and Brad K, for me, they're my underdogs. I like both of those underdogs. Christopher Bell is just one of those guys you never really talk about, but Christopher Bell's numbers here are super good. He is tied for sixth with Kevin Harvick on the way I did my countdown. And let's just look at Christopher Bell's numbers here real quick. Christopher Bell has 7 top tens. Christopher Bell's average finish is 7.0, and he has 73 laps led here, so he is not a bad pick. And he is getting what Bell is getting plus 1,200 odds to win, so he's not a bad pick at all. Often gets overlooked. And the other thing is he's in a Toyota. This is a Toyota track, secondarily a Ford track. Even though all those Chevrolets qualified in front, and this has been a Chevrolet year, would not be surprised to see a Ford or Toyota pick up this win, which is also something you can bet on. Chevrolet, Toyota, or Ford, which manufacturer will win this race? I think Toyota would be not a terrible pick for that. And Gibbs for an underdog. Yeah, Penske fan, that's not a bad pick. Ty Gibbs is an underdog here. I didn't even look at what odds he was being laid, but it's got to be long. So just putting for entertainment purposes only, a few Monopoly dollars on him wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Logano had good speed yesterday in Group B practice, hoping for his third win. Joey Logano's obviously his odds are really good here. We'll see. He was on my list. He is the fourth best, and he is getting plus 2,000 odds. So that's not a bad pick at all. Joey Logano, and he has, 4 top fives. Logano also has 4 top tens. So 4 top fives, 4 top tens. And he has an average finish here of 6.8. So good, solid pick. I like Logano's odds here. Truex is my second bet, said Robin Marks. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Truex at this track. He definitely owns it. The thing that surprised me yesterday was, holy cow, the 41 was fast in qualifying, and how he did do that, and I don't even know. I guess SHR gave Cole a fast hot rod. Yeah, for sure. And now hopefully they don't mess him up on pit road, because that has been a significant issue. Cole Custer getting messed up on pit road, and also getting caught up in other people's wrecks or a mechanical failure has been the story of Cole Custer's season. It's just been one of those seasons for the guy. And unfortunately, if the rumors are accurate, he might lose his ride because of that. But that's who knows. Who knows where Kyle Busch is going? Who knows if any of that's true? And Bob Puckett says, heck yeah, I'd love to see 7 winners. Yeah, for sure. Me too. I'd love to see NASCAR get scrutinized for not letting a winner in. And hopefully we go back to the old point system, but that's a dream that probably will never come true, but I can dream that dream. Have you heard anything about Kyle Busch? I don't like him, LOL, said Tom Harris. As far as I know, we're in a holding pattern on the Kyle Busch deal. He's according to Door Bumper Clear, he's talking to a Chevrolet team, which many have speculated to be Colleague. Chris Rice, by the way, was at the Ace Speedway race for the Cars Tour. Chris Rice was there checking it out, saw him. But Colleague is one he's talking to, and Stuart Haas is the other one he's talking to. He would either go in the 10 if Eric Almirola retires, or if they bring Eric Almirola back, which is another rumor that they're trying to get him to come back. Kyle Busch would go in the 41, and Cole Custer would go either to the Xfinity Series or to one of the Rick Ware cars. So that is the holding pattern on the Kyle Busch deal. As far as I know, unless I missed something. I've sort of been out of it doing late model stuff for the last 2 days. So I haven't been as on top of it as normal. Let's see. Without stage cautions, we might see no cautions at all. Richmond's just one of my least favorite tracks, says Don McLeese. Yeah, typically not a lot of cautions at Richmond. It used to be really good finishes here, though. There's been some barn burners with Ricky Rudd and Kevin Harvick, but something happened. I don't know if they repaved the track, but something happened with these next generation of cars where Richmond doesn't race as good as it used to. The plane last night, he was in Knoxville last night. Hope Larson can get some sleep. Yeah, Larson also ran the Knoxville Nationals last night. So he might not be as well rested as he would like to be, or as some people who might be wagering on him would like him to be. So that is one thing to keep in mind, but he always races somewhere. So I don't know if that really affects him. He just seems to love it. So I think he just wakes up and starts racing. He might be one of those type of dudes, and he's in his prime. So I don't know. Anyone who hasn't won is my pick. I want the playoffs to be broken as possible. Said Angus 420. I'm with you, man. I agree 100%. I want heck 18 winners would be fine with me. I mean, if every single race the rest of the way we got a new winner, I'd be okay with that. Austin Hill Cup race. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that, but I'm sure they'll get him another race before the end of this season, if I'm guessing. Mark Barnum agrees with Angus about the playoffs being messed up. Yeah, I want total chaos for the playoffs. When are you going to do a live chat on this hideous point system? Well, we can talk about it Tuesday. I can make that one of the topics we talk about Tuesday, Don McLeese. I'd like to get some notes together, get my thoughts gathered. I don't want to just go randomly on it, but if you want that to be the focus of the topic, we'll definitely do that next Tuesday. So that'll be one of the big topics. I'll get some ideas together for that because I got a bunch of different things I'd like to try with that. But yeah, we'll get that going next Tuesday. I appreciate that. That is a good idea. I like that. Thank you, Dawn. Molten Rage, just for some crazies. Imagine if the 41 gets the right strategy, nothing goes wrong, and wins Richmond today. That will blow the playoff grid sky high. I'm not even joking. That will be hilarious. I agree with you, Molten. If him or Brad Keselowski, not Brad Keselowski, Brad Keselowski can win, that would be awesome. I think that would be pretty much the best thing that could happen, because then your second place guy in points is replaced in points by guys that have had rough seasons or have gotten heavily penalized and have had rough seasons because of the penalty to them. I think even without the penalty, I think you could say Brad Keselowski's season has been kind of rough, to say the least. Kyle at Colleague would kind of be interesting because that team could be competitive weekly. Yeah, that's absolutely for sure there. They have good equipment. They seem to be married with Justin Haley, but the results don't seem to be there. I don't know what that's all about. And nothing against Justin Haley. I think he just might be a guy that possibly moved up a little too early. But I understand why they did it first year with a new car. Go ahead and move him up. But that being said, and I know he's got a cup win, and there are so many, in my opinion, so many other people I would put in that car. I don't know if it's a funding deal. I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but they seem to be married with Justin Haley. They see some potential in him that I'm not seeing, and I'm not bashing on Justin Haley. Like I said, he might just be a guy that moved up too early. But there are so many other guys I would put in that Colleague stuff, because that Colleague stuff is fast every single weekend. You see the 16 routinely outperforming the 31, but maybe Justin Haley puts it together and gets it going. But I think if you put a veteran in that car like Kyle Busch for a full season, Kyle Busch is amazing at getting setups, and you pair him with Justin Haley, I think you would see an improvement in Justin Haley's performance significantly. So that I could see that being just something really cool if he did sign with Colleague. You need Kyle Busch haters. You need someone to root against, said Robin Marks. That's for sure. You need a bad guy to pull against. In my opinion, they don't let Custer go, so they move him to the 10, and Busch goes to the 41. Almirola will choose to retire because he probably won't find a good team to ride with, and he said he will. Yeah, I agree. That I don't know where the rumor came from that they're trying to bring him back. I don't know where that started, but it's definitely a strong rumor. But I think the guy said he's going to retire. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't retire. He said he wanted to retire to spend time with his family. Um, I think he's still possibly. I feel strongly he's still going to retire. Larson has not won a cup race in a while. I want to see his wife shotgunning beers again, said Mark Barnum. Yeah, for sure. It's been a minute since Larson got a win. I think the second or third race of the season. So definitely would like to see him win again myself, as personally as a Kyle Larson fan. And when he qualifies first, he has a pretty good track record of winning. So hard to pick against him. Him and Martin Truex. Numbers favor them depending on which numbers you're looking at. I would be okay with 17 winners as long as Ryan Blaney is one of them. Johnny Five plays. I agree, but if Ryan Blaney doesn't make it, that better makes the point of what I'm saying about how these playoffs are just so bad for the sport. Like the guy is literally second in points, and he has to worry about making the playoffs. Like him not making it would actually hurt the playoffs more. Now I hope he makes it from a perspective of he has earned it. But if he doesn't make it, it actually helps make my argument that the playoffs are ridiculous. Nobody wants them. Even casual fans think the playoffs are ridiculous. One of the things that a lot of the F1 fans talk about the clown show of NASCAR is because our point system is literally that, in my opinion, a clown show. It doesn't reward the guy who had the best season. It just rewards the guy who managed to make the top four and win the last race is how it's played out the last few years. Do you think Kyle Busch is a Ty Gibbs fan? Benjamin Lewis. Yeah, I think Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs are definitely friendly with each other, and I think he likes Ty Gibbs a lot. And I'm pretty sure Ty Gibbs likes him a lot. I'm pretty sure that's one of Ty Gibbs, one of the guys he models his driving career around is Kyle Busch. If you see Ty Gibbs throwbacks, they're always number 18 themed throwbacks when he does throwbacks, usually Interstate Batteries, which I think is a shout out to Kyle Busch and to, of course, the 18 car being the first Gibbs car to hit the track with Dale Jarrett back in the day. Let's see, missed a couple. What do you think happens to Priest if KB to the 41 deal happens? That is a great question. That's what I don't know. I want to see what happens with Ryan Priest, and I want to see what happens with Cole Custer. You would imagine one of them stays where they're at. I would imagine Priest stay. I think Priest signed a 2-year deal, so Priest would probably stay where he's at. But you might see that equipment get better. And you might see him get a few more races than he got this year. And I think Cole Custer would stay where he's at. And if Kyle Busch goes to the 10. Now, if Kyle Busch goes to the 41, you would see Cole Custer move down, and you might see Ryan Priest move to the 10. There's just so many moving parts there. I don't really know. Like that's a big thing that's not being talked about. They've got a lot of drivers, and I don't think they were expecting Kyle Busch to fall in their lap like that. If the rumors are true that he's leaving, according to Door Bumper Clear, if the rumors are true that he's done talking to Joe Gibbs Racing and they don't think a deal is going to get done. If Trackhouse had a third full-time Cup ride, I think Kyle would take that ride in a heartbeat if he could. Yeah, I agree with you. And what a team that would be. They would get a veteran, and they would get two guys who are contending this year for the championship. If you take away some of the mechanical failures and crashes that Daniel Suarez has had, he's definitely had a good season. Speaking of last night, I can't believe it. Again, the 42 is in controversy. Confirmed his team wrecked the 33 intentionally to stay on the lead lap. I'm losing my respect. Like I said, I didn't see it, but I did see a lot of people talking about it. I don't know. If you admit you do it on purpose, that's not a high IQ move. It's not a high IQ move to wreck somebody on purpose anyway. But if you come out and admit it, that's an even lower IQ move. Like I said, I don't know what happened, but I saw a lot of people talking about that. So yeah, not a good situation. I think Colleague is giving their winning cars to the 16. It's a trophy hunter for AJ and the up and comers. After all, Flash Racing Entertainment. Said, yeah, that definitely could be a situation where, and it could be a crew chief communication issue. And I'm not down on Justin Haley. I'm just saying I was expecting him to challenge for more wins. But in essence, he is a rookie this season, even though he didn't get qualified as a rookie or whatever. Which brings me to my next point. I was saying the rookie of the year deal. I've been saying that you only get 8 races for that, or 7 races. They have actually, I guess, changed that, and I didn't know it. But who was it? Dave Moody on his talk show and Bob Pockris have come out and said it is now a case-by-case deal for rookie of the year. It's just case by case. There's no longer a set rule, which is pretty much the most NASCAR thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. So instead of the weak but leadership of NASCAR just making one solid rule where you get 7 or 8 races per season for 2 years, and then the third year you have to run for rookie of the year, or your third season in NASCAR, you have to run for rookie of the year. Instead of just having a solid rule like that, now it's just a case-by-case basis. So that just invites all kinds of criticism. I'm not going to go down that route because I'm just going to make a video about it. But yeah, weakest thing I've seen in a hot minute. So it's now a case-by-case basis. But that being said, it's been like that for a little bit longer than I know. But it seems to be 8 races seems to still be the number. Because Ryan Blaney, his rookie season in 2016, I think, he ran 8 races apiece. Because he had 16 races before he made overall over 2 years before he made his rookie campaign. So it seems to be 8 races apiece per season in good equipment. Now, some people in lesser equipment have gotten the okay to be rookie of the year. But yeah, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. Like I said, I'll just make a video about it. Some stuff I need to cover anyway. I want to see Kyle in a Chevy. Maybe Trackhouse starts a new team with Kyle Busch. I think they would try that. Bigsby says we need a Winston Cup style point system. I agree with you, man. Or at least a full season point system. Yeah, something like that for sure. Moulton, just like the Thor teammates, is not lapping his teammate at the end of stage 1, said Mark Barnum. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of games that are played team-wise and strategy-wise. Stage cautions are ridiculous. Award stage points, but stop interrupting the races. Mr. J said, yeah, I agree with that because it would sort of be like the halftime or the halfway award they used to do back in the day. Some people would stay out for the halfway award. So I like that because you could still get gas mileage and other types of strategy in there. But for whatever reason, NASCAR feels they need to throw the caution because really what they're doing with the caution is creating another commercial break because like we need more commercials in a NASCAR race. They're creating another commercial break, which is just stupid. That's why they throw the caution. And they get their restarts because they know more cautions, restarts breed cautions, and they sort of want the wrecks and stuff like that because they're good for TV. Let's go back to the Winston Cup system. Yeah, I think that would be a decent system. I mean, you could do a different points thing, but essentially cumulative points would be the best. Stage yellows are a joke. I agree. Stage yellows stink. Patrick Mabe. Yeah, I think everybody agrees stage yellows are just TV trash. They're just made up TV drama trash, in my opinion. KB to the 41 and Custer to the 99 in Xfinity. That is SHL car would not run. Yeah, I could see that happening. If Custer goes down, he might be a guy like Daniel Suarez who refuses to go back down. And it worked out for Suarez. So there's no right or wrong answer. They should give Priest the 98 ride in Xfinity. That would be awesome. Either one of those guys, I said Enzo. If they give Priest or Cole Custer the 98 in Xfinity, I think that would be great. What's up, Kyle? Tuning in from New Hampshire. What's up, Michael Curtis? Sorry, Baloney, but I'm gonna go because my eyes are hurting and I got to rest up for the Cup race. Hey, I get it, brother. I'm nursing some tiredness myself. I feel you, Penske fan. The 42 did it at the very last moment. Possible to do that. Yeah. So like I said, I haven't seen it. I have no idea what's going on. I'm back to my PC blue screen. What did I miss? We talked a little bit about the truck race and what else did we talk about? The ridiculous rookie system, but I'm gonna make a video on that, so don't worry, you didn't miss much. That is stupid in my opinion. The rookie of the year format should be you can only run 7 races before you have to declare for rookie, or 7 races and then you just can't run anymore that season. Then the next season you can run another 7, but then the season after or the next season you compete in after that you would have to declare for rookie points. I agree with that, Moulton. It is a bad system. Mr. J said he agrees. NASCAR seems to change so much every year. Yeah, That's one thing. I think they should just set it and let it be. Brexton Bush will be running NASCAR in 8 years. I said Mark Wachowski. Yeah, so Kyle Busch came out with a comment. If he can hang on for 8 more years, him and Brexton can split a truck together, and eventually Brexton would take that truck over the year after. So he's definitely got a clear plan for what he wants to do. Sounds like he is going to at some point move down to the truck series at the end of his career, or maybe he's just talking about running his 5 races, and Brexton would run another 5 races and eventually take the truck over. But he's got a clear path for his son, and he seems to have a clear idea for when he wants to retire. Mark Wachowski, I don't see Kyle Busch retiring then for at least 10 years. Yeah. So I think it was NBC posted the quote, but they've definitely got the quote about Kyle Busch talking about that retirement deal. Awarded stage point for stage wins, but stay green and no yellow, said Team Penske fan. Yeah, I agree, man. That's definitely the way to do it. Angus 420 is agreeing with you as well. So I think that's a great idea. That's been the first place I heard that, I think, was the Iceberg was talking about that, and I think he's got a good point. I don't know where he got it from, or if that was original from him, but that's the first place I heard it. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Because I hated stages. I was so anti-stage, but I was like, I'm really just the anti-caution for the stage. I don't necessarily hate the stage idea itself. We got a super chat. Appreciate it, Michael Curtis. Who's your top 3 drivers today and your dark horse pick? Top 3 by the numbers are going to be Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. I would also throw in there, take out one of those as your top 3, because when Kyle Larson qualifies on the pole, he typically has a good chance of winning that race. So those would be my top 3, some combination of that. And my dark horse is, and also you add Joey Logano to that mix too. He is up there too. So put him in that 5. So of those 5, that would be my top 3. I would just have to pick some of them. But let's not be soft. Let's just pick them. I would go Martin Truex. I would go Kyle Busch, and I'd go Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson would be my top 3. And my sleeper would be Brad Keselowski. If you look at Brad Keselowski's numbers here, let me read them off to you real quick. Brad Keselowski has 1 win. Brad Keselowski has 2 top 5s, and Brad Keselowski has 3 top 10s. He has an average finish of 8.7, and he has 337 laps led. Brad Keselowski has also qualified in 8th. So Brad Keselowski would definitely be my sleeper for this race. But any of those guys mentioned would be good picks. Thank you for that, Michael Curtis. I appreciate it. NASCAR needs another father and son on the track. Well, the Bushes would be the closest thing to that possibly happen. Maybe the Harvicks, but Kevin Harvick's pretty up there. But if he can hold on for long enough, it might be a deal where Kevin Harvick runs part-time and Keelan would be full-time. I could see something like that maybe happening. Worst race of the year, says Johnny. Or it says Mark Barnum responding to Johnny. I missed the trucks race. Sounds like it was bad. Oh, yeah. So a lot of people are saying the truck race was terrible. I didn't get a chance to see it. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I'll check it out later this week. But they said it was bad. And once again, Lane Riggs got screwed on pit road. Another terrible stop from the Halmar Friesen group. Once again, he was in the top 5 like he was his other race. And they messed him up on pit road. That's two times he was contending, and they messed him up on pit road. So I don't know. Martin Truex Jr. needs a win bad, said Mr. J. I agree with that. I've said it before, and I will say it again. Brian France made NASCAR in the WWE with 3,000-pound cars back in 2004. Angus 420. I agree with that. He and we know what he was under the influence of back then. So essentially, you've got the sport that was changed by somebody who was under the influence, and they haven't had the bright idea to change it back. So I just don't get that. I don't get that at all. So I'll leave it at that. Trying to keep it clean here. Let's see. How to fix the playoffs format, nerf the win, and nerf the win you're in to make it like you want to race. You're in, but you're not secured until Daytona if you're top 16 in points. If you're not going to win, the win means nothing. Yeah, Yeah. I mean, I think just get rid of the playoffs altogether. I just don't see it being beneficial, or just do it like they did back in the day. Whoever were the best 12 wins, regardless of wins, just add more points for wins if you want wins to count more. But don't automatically lock somebody in for getting a win. The guy who's last in points shouldn't luck up and get like a win during a rain delay and immediately be in points. Like that's something that hasn't been addressed yet. Flash Racing Entertainment. Check them out if you like stop motion. Uh, it would be weird and a tough pill to swallow if Kyle doesn't outlast his older brother in the Cup Series competition. Like if Kurt stays longer than Kyle, that would be wild. Yeah, for sure. That definitely would be a weird scenario. My dark horse is Bowman. Bowman's got pretty good numbers here too, by the way. My dark horse is Bowman. He won the spring race for sure. He's actually got some pretty good numbers here as well. Let's see what his numbers are. Bowman, where did I have him ranked? I've got him ranked at 9th, a tie with Austin Dillon. And he's got one win, like you said previously, in the spring. He has one top 5, and he has 3 top 10s. And he has an average finish of 11.4. So, like I said, good numbers there. And he has led, let's see, how many did he lead? Did I write it down? Didn't write him down. So he has led less than 56 laps. So when he won, he led less than 56 laps. But like I said, he was tied for 9th on the on my list there. So he would definitely be a good pick right there for sure. Brian France had a beautiful thing. Then the bad stuff that he took for sure. Mark Wachowski's going with the 18, the 17, and the 22. Good, solid picks. I don't have Buescher's numbers in front of me, but if Brad Keselowski has speed, you know the 17 has speed. And he's had speed every week, and he's been knocking on that door for a win, so that would not be a bad pick. Joe Logano definitely has good numbers here, and Kyle Busch. Both of those guys were in my top 4 of how I ranked them here. That truck race was very bad, said Mr. J. So maybe I'll just fast forward to the highlights, which would be the end, I guess. Wait, Xfinity has another week off. Said Angus 420. Yeah, for sure. Mark Wachowski said Riggs will get it right. Yeah, it's not even on Riggs. It's just he's got to get the pit crew has got to stop messing him up on pit road. But I agree. NRF 18, what's up, buddy? The drivers today have to be more aggressive. Martin Truex Jr. is old school. Yeah, I think so too. I think Truex is just going to be a really good pick here. Boring, so boring. Never before that bad, said Tom Harris about the truck race. If we went back to a season-long points, I think it would also chill out the aggressiveness for everybody on the track, said Johnny Five Plays. I agree with that too. You would stop seeing these demolition derbies at the end of races when you get a late caution, because that's all that this format has really turned into. The closer it gets to the playoffs, the more these guys use each other up, and all the racecraft goes out the window. They're no longer racing; they're just wrecking each other for wins, as some of them have openly admitted. The worst part is we lost a decent driver to really sad conditions, and that being Jeremy Mayfield. And I think he had a few more years in him, maybe even a championship, said Angus 420. So, yeah, that's a definitely he said NASCAR picked on him. It depends on whose story you believe. But if his story is accurate and true, and we'll go with that because we got no reason not to necessarily believe it, then they stole a decade or more off of his career because he was I don't think he was even 32 when they got rid of him. So rough situation for him. He was definitely in a good car and he was starting to compete. The truck race wouldn't be so boring if you were in it and you were racing a truck, said Mark Wachowski. That's true. It's always more fun when you're playing, just like baseball. Sometimes hard to watch on TV, but when you're actually playing the game, a lot more interesting. Sign Bubba Wallace and letting Kyle Busch go is a big mistake, said Mike Jones. Well, here's the deal with Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, and I know some people don't like him because of his comments on politics and other things. But here's the deal: he's young, which is one thing a lot of people want. He brings in sponsorship, which is what every single team wants. And he has just recently started to perform. He's got 4 top 10s in a row. If they don't sign him, somebody else gets all that, and it goes to their team. So I don't know. I think if you're 23-11, you have to sign him. He probably brings in enough sponsorship to fund the whole organization. So he's from a business perspective, you're dumb not to sign Bubba Wallace. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just the way it is. And he's performing, he's young, and he brings in money. That's the three things you want in a race car driver. He's got it right now. He's got 4 straight top 10s. So like him or hate him, it's the like a lot of people don't like LeBron James. You can't say he's a bad basketball player because he performs, but you might not necessarily agree with his opinions. And he puts butts in seats, so which pays the bills in basketball. Bubba Wallace might not agree with his opinions, but he's definitely proved he can drive the last 4 races at least. Holden Rage said, poor Riggs. Last night, the guy was a man on a mission on stage 1. Like he was straight up great, top 10 throughout the whole stage. And then the pit stop messed him up, went from 10th to finishing 1 lap down. Yeah, it just stinks. And they did the same thing to him the race before, but he was able to, the other race he raced in at, I think it was Gateway. He was able to come back from that, but this one, or IRP, he raced at IRP. So he was able to come back from it there, but he wasn't able to come back from it this time. If they would just get him a decent pit crew, that Halmar Friesen group would have a chance of winning some races with the guy, as well as Stuart Friesen, who I'm big on. I like Stuart Friesen. I run dirt car and an old man, boring race, plain and simple. Yeah, that a lot of people agree with you. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but I'm just going to go ahead and agree with you guys that it was a boring race because that seems to be the overwhelming majority of people thought that. More first-time winners this season happens. Daytona will be out of control. I agree, Mr. J. If we get 17 winners before Daytona, or if we even get 16 winners before Daytona, Daytona is going to be a madhouse. So just who knows? Who knows? VA Cracker said he's got the 12 today. I like that. That's a good solid pick too. His numbers are pretty solid here. I've got him listed as, where did I put Ryan Blaney on here? Ryan Blaney is the 13th guy on this list. So he is the 13th driver statistically on this list. So yeah, that's not a bad pick. He is just below William Byron. So good pick there. I like Brian, and it's a Penske track too, right? All those numbers were put up by Brad Keselowski in a Penske car. So good track for him. I like that pick. Let's see, William Byron or Martin Truex Jr. They were the closest to beating Hamlin the first time we went to Richmond this year. Yeah, so those are definitely good picks. Martin Truex obviously first on that list, and like I just said, Byron 12th on my list there. I'll never forget the Dover race that Truex filled in for Earnhardt Jr., and they looked identical. Yeah, Martin Truex can definitely get the job done. Talent, said Flash Racing Entertainment for sure. Do you think John Hunter Nemechek has been a disappointment this year? Said Enzo. No, I think he's had a good season. It's just sort of hard to top what he did last year. You know, like he had such a good season. It's sort of the Kyle Larson argument. He did so good last year. This year feels like a letdown, but Kyle Larson is still like top 5 in points and he's won a race. Sort of the same thing with John Hunter Nemechek. He's had a good season. It just wasn't as dominant as last year. And obviously last year, because the trucks have the playoffs too, John Hunter Nemechek didn't win the title, which probably he should have won that title last year too. But the playoffs are the playoffs. I've made my opinion known about them for a long time. Jeremy Mayfield is still racing dirt late models, said Mark Wachowski. That's cool. Did not know that, but it's good to see he's still racing something. I like it when guys don't give up on their dreams. He might not be racing in NASCAR, but anytime you get a chance to drive a race car, drive the race car. That's been a motto of mine for a long time. Mayfield was up to some off-track business, though, most likely. I mean, NASCAR guys never have failed one of those tests. I bet they police themselves, said Mr. J. Yeah, so the issue with that is he went on the Dale Jr. download and said that he showed this, that, and the other reason as to why his wasn't a real failed test. And the only reason they targeted him for some reason. You'd have to watch the Dale Jr. download. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he stated his case, and that's why I said if you believe his side of the story, then he was definitely run out of NASCAR for Brian France essentially just not liking him. So it's for some reason I forgot why, but check out that episode of the Dale Jr. Download and get up to speed on that. I can't remember the exact details off the top of my head, and I don't want to just talk out of my butt and put misinformation out there. So let's see. Bubba Wallace just signed an extension on his contract with 23XI. He's not leaving. I don't know why people think he's going to leave. Yeah, it's just a good, just for even like him or not, it's just a good business decision. He brings everything to the table you would want for somebody to bring to the table as a driver. He's young. He's stacking top tens recently, and he brings funding, probably more funding than anybody in the sport, not named Chase Elliott. So I don't see it being business wise. There's no argument not to sign him. I love the late model dirt. That late model dirt, really good show. If you've never seen it, you get a chance to watch it at Bristol every year. If you want to get your dip your toe into that, Bubba is getting better as a driver each week. Has room to improve on his personality. So yeah, he's always been aggressive and cocky. Even when he was with Petty, he was aggressive and cocky. So there's a lot of things that he's a typical Toyota driver, right? Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Bubba Wallace are all Toyota drivers, and they are all, every time you hear an introduction, all three of those guys get as many boos as cheers, if not more boos than cheers. So it sort of is what it is. You either love them or hate them, and that's the type of drivers they are. So they're polarizing, and it's good for the sport to have bad guys. Sometimes people don't even have a favorite driver; they just got people they pull against, and he falls into that category. Like I said, with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, guys that people like to pull against. Mr. J says Bubba Wallace has 169 Cup starts, 18 top tens, 1 win, 1 pole, and last week was good to see him pull it together. Yeah, last week was a good race for him for sure. I know he wanted one more position, but and he sort of reminded me of Kyle Busch, and that's why I made that Kyle Busch reference. Kyle Busch has a very similar reaction when he finishes second. So whoever put Daytona as the regular season cutoff was a genius. Yeah, as far as being if you're a playoff fan, you definitely want Daytona as your cutoff race. No doubt about that. No Bubbly has no talent, not a lick. Nice guy, no talent, says Tom Harris. A lot of people feel that too. So I mean, like I said, Bubba is just he's a polarizing dude, right? You either like him or you don't. So it is what it is. He's no different from any other Toyota driver other than Martin Truex and Christopher Bell, in my opinion, on that. Exactly, give the guy a raise. Angus 420 talking to Johnny Five Plays. Ben Rhodes barely beat Deegan last night. So Haley Deegan has a new crew chief, and that is why you're seeing her improve speed-wise. Obviously, they got caught on pit strategy. It didn't work out for them. But I think you'll see for the rest of this season, Haley Deegan should improve where she's been running over the rest of the season. I would like to see Mayfield and SRX. That is a big thing. Like SRX put out, who do you want to see in SRX and what track should we go to? Jeremy Mayfield was overwhelmingly voted as a guy they want to see in SRX. So that might happen next season. Oh, God, I just remembered a gem of a flop team back in 2000s, Bobby Ginn Racing. Yeah, Ginn, he was a real estate guy or something like that. Either way, he lost all of his money. There is a great video on the downfall of Ginn Racing. Bobby Ginn. NRF, I think, did the rise and fall of Ginn Racing. I think it was part of the rise and fall of DEI. So if you look at the rise and fall of DEI, and I think it is, I think NRF did it. So check out that video. It goes into that, all that. Do you think Riley Herbst gets moved up, and what team does he go to? All of the Ford teams look good after a while this season. Riley Herbst definitely could move up. He just needs to find the right team to go to. He's funded. He's another guy that's young. He's funded, and he has improved. He has gotten better this year than when he first came in. So, and the year before too as well. So I mean, he's a guy that has improved and gotten better, and he's got funding behind him. So you would think at some point he would get a shot at the next level. He just needs to find – he's probably just looking for a ride that he wants to be in. and some guys that believe in him. Remember what NASCAR did to AJ Allmendinger? Lost a Penske ride and struggled to get a good ride for years, said Mark Wachowski. Yeah, and his was a supplement that he took, an over-the-counter supplement, according to him, that made him ding positive for something. So he definitely got one. Do you think Harvick will win another race this year? And our F18 says he's got a good chance to win this one. He is tied for 6th with Christopher Bell on my list here, so he's definitely got a chance to win here. This could be the next. He could get after going winless. He could go back to back. He has 2 top 5s. He has 5 top 10s, and he has an average finish here of 8.7. So I would not be surprised to see him win this race. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. Cal Tiki with the triple bologna burger. I appreciate it, Cal. NRF, the championship, LOL, said Mark Barnum. Missed a comment somewhere. Let's see. Mr. J, I think there's a chance that Evernham isn't involved. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Evernham used to make the cars, and now that Fury makes the cars, I think there's a good chance that Jeremy Mayfield could make it back to the SRX series. That's a good point. I don't know why I always forget that, but I always do. Yeah, him and Evernham had some issues as well. So I didn't even I always forget about that, even though I know it. Enzo says, what did you think about Drew Dollar paid driver beef on Twitter? He was saying he got the 9 ride in Xfinity on merit, not on money. Your thoughts? Well, it's a little bit of each. I am not a Drew Dollar hater. I think Drew Dollar is doing. He was born into the situation he's born in. He was born into money. If he wants to race a race car, he should use every resource at his availability. Do I think he's the best race car driver I've ever seen? No. I don't think he's terrible either. I've seen worse. He's sort of getting the same hate. He's just a little more outspoken about it, but he's sort of getting the same hate as Riley Herbst and Brandon Jones got. Both of those guys have money behind them, and they came in and they weren't necessarily as good as they could be, but they have both worked really hard to get better. Drew Dollar could be in a similar situation. He could get that ride and he could work his way up to being better, but he's definitely funded. But what happened is he's essentially he fed the trolls. He talked back to the trolls, and the trolls responded. And the internet's full of mean people, and he found them, right. So he's not the best driver I've ever seen. But did he get the 9 car on merit? He got the 9 car because of everything he brings to the table. So I'm not going to downgrade him as a driver. He's doing what he likes to do. So I'm not going to be one of those mean people. But money did play a factor. But money plays a factor with everybody. Nobody's picking a driver strictly based on talents, except maybe in the truck series. Parker Kligerman and Henderson Racing. They picked Parker Kligerman purely on talents, not the money he brings to the table. That's the most recent guy I can remember. Maybe Rackley War Racing with Matt DiBenedetto. So in the truck series, you see it. You see some guys picked purely on talent. But once you get to the Xfinity level and Cup, you got to have some funding behind you. So saying he just got it because of his funding, I think that's misleading. I think you still have to bring something to the table. And I don't know if that's for sure, has been confirmed, or if that's just a rumor. But like I said, I've been sort of out of the loop for the last 2 days. But if that is confirmed that he got that ride, then it's a little from column B and a little from column A. It's not ever simply just one thing or the other. Christopher Bell is kind of neutral to me. Doesn't seem like a dirty driver or a dirty person. Yeah, he's sort of he's just sort of like that guy that's there for a lot of people. But he's definitely super talented. I think as his career continues, he'll win some more races, and people will get to see his personality a little bit more. I like this deal that USA is doing now, where you got the driver. It's sort of like Drive to Survive. I can't think of the name of it, but we'll finally get to see some NASCAR personalities. I think that'll help the sport tremendously, and hopefully they put that on Netflix or something like that as well. And NASCAR Entertainment just built a new studio, so we're probably going to see more stuff like that. I remember going to Miss and seeing the giant booth that said Gin and had all those pictures of insanely overpriced houses on properties that no one in that area would be able to afford. Yeah, for sure. Angus 420 said that. So you must be from Florida, Angus. because I think their big holdings were in Florida. Because I remember when I went to Daytona, I saw a bunch of Gin signs. So I know one of those deals was definitely in Florida. They probably had real estate all over the place though, so he could be from anywhere. MJ not putting up for long with losing. He is a winner, but yeah, I mean I agree with that. But Bubba just got re-signed to an extension, so he definitely has seen what he wanted to see out of him. Let's see, Harvick has it, no doubt. Mark Wachowski, yeah, Harvick still got it. Like all the people saying he was washed, I didn't understand where they were coming from with that, because even though he wasn't winning, he was still getting top fives and top tens. I think Stewart Haas just had a couple of down years, to be totally honest. Ross is this generation's version of the Intimidator. You're 100% right with that, brother. I'm a huge supporter of the Watermelon Man. I think they're very similar in how aggressive they were. A lot of people just don't remember Dale Earnhardt in a yellow and blue car. And I'll just say it like that. Dale Earnhardt in a yellow and blue car. He once made the comment to somebody who tried to pass him on the outside. He put that guy into the wall, and that guy came up to Earnhardt after the race, and he was raising Cain, and Earnhardt said, "You know what you learned today? You learned not to pass me on the outside." So Earnhardt was actually more aggressive back then than the Watermelon Man, and Earnhardt said it as a joke, and he had a smile about him and a laugh that would just de-escalate the situation. So he wasn't saying it like, "Yeah, you learned not to pass me on the outside." He was saying it sort of jokingly. And he could just diffuse a situation like that. Ross doesn't necessarily have that personality just yet. So he's different in that aspect. But as far as how they drive on the track, they really do sort of remind me of each other at that point in their career. Now, I'm not saying Ross Chastain is going to be a 7-time Winston Cup champion, or that Ross Chastain is going to be considered as good as Dale Earnhardt, because every time I say this, Dale Earnhardt fans melt down. Of which I am one of them, and I understand why they're melting down. I'm not saying Ross Chastain is as good as Dale Earnhardt. I'm saying he reminds me of him aggressively, how they both drove at a young age. So even though I said that, somebody's still going to see this and be like, he's nowhere near as good as Dale Earnhardt. And yeah, very few people ever are. Let's see. As a Logano super fan, all I got to say is Logano always has a chance to. Oh yeah, that's for sure, man. Joey Logano's in the prime of his career. He's in good equipment, and he proves every week that he is one of the guys that has a chance to win. No doubt about that. Johnny Five Plays. I agree with you there. Elite Precision 29. What's up, man? What's up, Elite? He's got a great NASCAR channel on YouTube as well, if you guys want to check him out. Being at Michigan was a blast last week. I thought rain was going to postpone it. Luckily, it stopped, and I got to experience my first NASCAR race in person. That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you got to check that one out. Michigan, definitely a fun track. It's one of the best tracks, I think, you can go to, because that's where all the manufacturers are at. So they always usually put on a pretty good experience at the actual facility itself. So glad you got to check that one out. That's pretty cool. Angus 420 at Mr. J. I'm a fan because farmers, bootleggers built the sport, and I'm a fellow farmer, but on a smaller scale. And in Michigan, I grow tomatoes and peppers. Angus 420. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I like farming. Watermelon Man, definitely a farmer. So I think he's got a lot of. One of the guys we work with, Jason Barnes, he's a farmer. So definitely farm gang for sure. Dakota Henderson, what's up? What's up, Dakota? I like Haley. Hope she does well, but got to get better. Glad to see hear a new person on the box. Yeah, Jerry Baxter's a really good crew chief in trucks. He worked at Petty GMS for Bubba Wallace before he went to 2311. But he also worked with Bubba Wallace in the Truck Series, and they won a bunch of races, at least 2 at Martinsville. He's worked with several people in the Truck Series. Mostly at KBM, but he's gotten a ton of wins. I think he's going to significantly improve Haley Deegan's performance. I think that's going to be a good combination. I think you're going to see the best results you see from Haley with Jerry Baxter. Drew Dollar is absolutely terrible. He only got his Talladega win because he was lucky. He hasn't shown any talent in ARCA. Doesn't count. Went to trucks, out mostly equipment. Sorry, I'm fighting a little bit today. Sorry about that, guys. Out most of the equipment with Xfinity. Yeah, so I mean, Drew Dollar is polarizing. Like I said, he feeds the trolls. He's not going to back away and be like, I'm sorry, I'm rich. I feel bad for being rich. He's not that guy. He's going to be like, I'm rich and I'm doing what I like doing, and you guys can deal with it. That is sort of his mo. Enzo said, great answer. You got a future in this. Appreciate it, Enzo. Yeah, so I mean, look, it is what it is. A lot of people don't like Drew Dollar. Like I said, I've seen worse drivers. I've seen a lot better drivers too. But he definitely brings money to the table. And like I said, he can be a guy like Brandon Brown. He can be a guy like Riley Herbst, where they didn't show a whole lot, but they eventually figured it out. Like enough seat time, you can get a lot better. So if he puts in the seat time, if he's really gets serious about it and wants to get better, he will get better because he's got the means behind him to get better. So, like I said, I've seen a lot worse drivers, but I've seen better too. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like Drew Dollar is the worst driver I've ever seen. I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to get into it. But I've seen a lot worse drivers who have gotten more opportunities than Drew Dollar, and I will leave it at that. I could really start some mess if I started naming off names who are worse than Drew Dollar. Who get opportunities. There is one thing Mario Kart and the internet have in common is that they both bring out the worst in people, said Angus 420. Yeah, I agree with that, Angus. I've definitely launched a few controllers at Mario Kart. That daggum blue shell, it'll get you. Oh, man. Man. Yep, I agree with you. I've lost it on Mario Kart myself. And the internet's definitely full of trolls. It's good to have money. Racing or not, said Mark Wachowski. Yeah, no doubt about that. Everybody wants to live the American dream, secure enough money so that their family can be comfortable, right? So Larson and Gibbs for me today, said Tom Harris. I like those picks. Those are good picks. Drew Dollar to the 9 is him trolling. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I've been out of it. I figured that was a rumor. Drew Dollar, 8 starts with KBM, the best truck team. He only has 1 top 10 and a bunch of wrecks, by the way. Awful for KBM standards. If he gets the 9 for junior, he's going to have a lot of wreck race cars in his garage. Yeah, I mean that's part of it. Some drivers put them in the wall or win, or get a top 10. You know, in Drew Dollar's case, Drew Dollar should drive for the money team. That would be pretty cool. He could actually probably help him out with some funding. Let's see. I'm just down the road from Michigan. It's 30 minutes away. That's awesome. Okay, so Ginn had properties everywhere. That's what's up. I know not a Joey fan, but he's my dark horse. Robin Marks. He's a good pick. He's definitely a good pick for this track. Last question, I promise. Final four picks, Enzo. Oh, let's see here. They're so difficult because I always want to put Ryan Blaney in there. But my first 2 picks are going to be Chase Elliott and the Watermelon Man. And then after that, I kind of lean toward Joey Logano. I'm sort of feeling it as a Joey Logano year. And Denny Hamlin. Now, I would take Denny Hamlin out if I knew for sure Ryan Blaney was locked into the playoffs. If Ryan Blaney gets into the playoffs, I put him over Denny Hamlin. But also, if he doesn't, I put Denny Hamlin in there. And this could definitely be the year that Denny Hamlin wins the championship because it's been such a bizarro year. I could see this being, because Denny Hamlin's always been consistent and lost the championship in years that he's been super good. Somebody just had a better year or a better playoff. This could be the year that Denny Hamlin has a terrible year and he's the guy that gets hot in the playoffs and wins the championship. So that's why I put Denny Hamlin in there. I just see it. The year has been so crazy. That could be the crazy thing that happens. Like Chase Elliott could win 9 or 10 races and then Denny Hamlin wins the championship, only winning 3 or 4 races and getting into the playoffs on probably his worst statistical year in the last 3 or 4 years. Put it that way. Who wins at Daytona? My pick is Justin Haley, said Tall Night. That's a good pick. Justin Haley's a man at plate tracks. Who wins at Daytona? That's a good question. I have no idea. I would have to wait for it to get closer. But typically Daytona, you would look at your plate guys like Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace. Eric Jones is good at plate races. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney. I don't know if I already said him, but those would be my picks for a plate race. Let's see. My mom used to be a Angus 420. Used to be a big race goer back in the day. She knew Neil Bonnet, the Labonte brothers, Tim Richmond, Chocolate Myers, and several other crews. She personally met Neil Bonnet. Drove her to the hospital once. That's awesome, man. That's pretty cool. That goes way back. That's the way back in the time machine there. That's pretty cool. How come nobody talks about Josh Berry? Will he ever go to Cup or stay loyal to Junior long term? I think Josh Berry would be a good fit for like the 8 car. Like I've been thinking about him before they brought up Austin Hill, who I think would have to be your front runner now. But I thought Josh Berry, like you want to build around a guy, you want a guy that will stay loyal. And RCR and Dale Jr. are, you got to imagine they're on at least at the very least friends or friendly. I think I think that's Josh Berry to the 8 car. I could definitely see that happening for RCR. Colleague would be another situation I could see him sliding into, but he seems to be loyal to Dale Jr. and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. If Dale Jr. is just like, just hold on, stay with us. We're going to get you to Cup in JRM equipment. There's a lot of variables there, but I could see any one of those 3 variables sort of being the deal for Josh Berry. But I think he will eventually get a Cup shot for sure. I think he just turned 30, maybe. So he just now turned 30. So he'll be in his prime when he gets to Cup, if he gets to Cup in the next couple years, which I could definitely see happening. But yeah, you're right. He is a guy that not a lot of people talk about. That's for sure. He was also at Ace Speedway. So I'm walking around with his wife. He's carrying his little baby daughter with him. So he was at Ace Speedway, enjoying the festivities there during the Cars race. He is, of course, he's either a 1 or 2 time champion in the Cars Tour, and he's also a national champion in late models. So very accomplished driver in Josh Berry. I was a cowboy farmer. I love the country. Said Robin Marks. That's awesome, man. Like I said, Ross Chastain, a ton of farmers on board with him because he's a watermelon man, because his family are watermelon farmers. Mark Wilkowski says, don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate it, Mark, because I always forget to say that. Sort of new at this streaming deal, but I appreciate all you guys watching, whether you hit the like button or not. But I would appreciate it if you hit it. Back in the days before the motorhomers, they stayed in motels. Yeah, I remember that. So, and I'm gonna get into this. Let me finish reading this here. And I can't remember which crew she said, but they were rebuilding the engine in the room next to her. That is when the sport was a sport, man. And that's we raced in the Cars Tour for a little while, and we've got very similar stories to that. And some of the guys in the Cars Tour that are older will talk about that because they were on some of these Cup teams and stuff like that. They were like they'll talk about the Cars Tour is very similar to how Cup was when it was in the 80s and 70s, and because obviously the Cars Tour we stay in hotels and stuff like that when we were doing that full time. But yeah, you will see some of the weirdest stuff ever, acting up in the hotel rooms, and people will be working on stuff. They'll take it wherever they need to take it. So yeah, you get some great stories. And back in the back in the Cup days, they used to just to travel on these. They didn't have these big motorhomes. They had these Mark III Chevrolet and Ford vans. Mark III is a company that makes conversion vans. So they would all just be traveling on those. And I remember one story is that when Earnhardt won one of his championships in the 80s or whatever, one of his first ones for Childress, I remember that. They talk about they had the side door open. They were drinking and going crazy in the back of the Mark III, driving back from the championship race in Atlanta back then, the final race, and just going crazy and partying, having a good time. So very different from how a championship is celebrated now in the era of personal jets and things like that. But cool perspective there. Yeah, the sport's just very different now, for sure. Now it's and it's also an era when after the race ended, you would go down and get autographs from everybody. Now now the drivers are just racing to get home. Just a different era. Mark Hunter said winner picks the next 3 races. Bubba for what? Richmond is Bubba Watkins Glen, Brad Keselowski, and Daytona Corey LaJoie. Man, if Corey LaJoie could win Daytona, that would be awesome. Awesome for sure. Yeah, that would be cool. I like those picks. Those are good, solid picks. I also like Brad Keselowski for this race too. So I don't know. But yeah, we're getting down to the end of it for sure. Yeah, definitely got to include Corey LaJoy as your super speedway or plate track favorites there. Daytona is going to be interesting, especially the Xfinity Daytona race because of Haley. It would be surprising if Haley wins that Xfinity Daytona race and returns to the Xfinity in the 14 car. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if they're talking about Justin Haley moving down. I think they're pretty solid on Justin Haley. I'm just saying there's other people I could see in that car. But they believe in Justin Haley, and Justin Haley's been with them. So I'm not knocking that, and I'm not trying to knock Justin Haley's talent. I'm just saying there's other guys. Me personally, I would put in that car, which is still an equally crappy thing to say. So no offense, Justin Haley. I think you're talented. Just might have been rushed up a little too quick, but I understand the thought process. This car is only new one time. And if you don't put him in there, he's losing experience to the other drivers on the track. I agree 100% with Hamlin. It would be strange but true, and it could make lots of people upset. So I'm all for it, said Robin Marks. Yeah, I think so too. If Ross wins, this wouldn't be tied with Chase Elliott. I really think he's going to be our round of 4 driver. Yeah, for sure. Ross is definitely. I've got Ross and Chase Elliott in my final 4, and they're the only 2 solid picks I feel strongly about. I see Hendrick Motorsports hitting their hot streak now. This is typically when they turn it on, right? This is typically when you see it. So one of those guys you would imagine would start reeling off some wins. Ricky Crashhouse could win Daytona, said Mark Barnum. For sure, that's one of his tracks. Neil Bonnet's story makes me sad. He was the best. Yeah, old Neil, man. Like he left us too soon, and that was sad. But he gave us a lot while he was here, for sure. He had a TV show, Winners, that you can look up and check some of those episodes out if you want to get a feel for how Neil Bonnet was as a person. One of the best analysts, and definitely one of the best drivers. Neil Bonnet had a talent for picking good teams when they were not doing well. That was one of his claim to fame as a driver. He would go to a team that was traditionally good, and then when he got there, they were having down years. But he still got a lot of wins. Definitely was a good driver. Just had bad luck in the teams he selected back in the day. Hamlin, not a favorite of mine, but I wish him all the luck in the world to win a championship this year. Mark Wachowski, wants to see the chaos as well. I appreciate that, Mark. I can see RCR selling the number 8 to JRM when JRM goes to Cup, and then RCR goes back to a 3 and a 31. Yeah, I could definitely see that too, or a 3 and a 33. Either way, yeah, for sure. Angus 420 said, I think that would be a good move. And I think selling the 8 to Junior would just be a good move. Like, everybody would feel good about that. If JRM or when JRM comes up, Ghost, will RCR sell its Cup operation to JRM? I don't see that happening. Ghost, but stranger things have happened this season. I just don't know if that's going to be part of one of those stranger things. I could see them maybe merging, but not fully selling all the way out. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And man, could you hear the crying and complaining if that happened? Like, RCR sells to JRM, so that would basically mean because Dale Jr. is the link between Hendrick, like the link with Dale Jr. and Hendrick. If he got RCR, that would give, in a lot of people's minds, Hendrick 4 more cars. Said Hendrick would be an 8-car team because RCR, I think, can get 2 more charters, or it would give them 6 teams. So they would be in a 23-11 situation. But if you've seen RCR's campus, RCR is definitely capable of having 8 cars. Like, so I don't know. The only rumor I've ever heard about RCR is that Colleague would buy them out. But I don't know how true that rumor is whenever Richard is ready to sell. Daytona is a wild card, said Flash Racing Entertainment, for sure. Chase Elliott, favorite driver, can win races clean and doesn't have to fence anyone else again. Yeah. So Chase was clean early on, but then he got tired of being roughed up, and now he's just he races you how you race him is how I see it. But he's a fan favorite. So whenever TV takes up for him, it gets polarizing because they're like, oh, they're just kissing Chase Elliott's butt because he's everybody's favorite driver. The 31 taken by Colleague. RCR will go to the 33 whenever they. Oh yeah, that's right. The 31 is already taken by Colleague. I forget about that. Why? How do I forget Justin Haley's number all the time? But I always do. Yeah, so I think RCR would be the 33 whenever they move Austin Hill up to replace Reddick. Yeah, I think it'll be either Austin Hill or, like I said, Josh Berry. Those are the two I see coming up. Like I said, it won't be next year, but it'll probably be the year after that. Oh yeah, Angus said, yeah, I meant the 33. Yeah, I think everybody forget. That's crazy. I think and he also mentions the 29. I would like the 29 to come back because that's the number that everybody forgets Kevin Harvick used to drive, right? Just like I forgot the 31 is Justin Haley's number. It is what it is. Hi, any more news on manufacturers coming in? Said Sean Kaminsky. Not really, Sean. I haven't heard anything since the initial Dodge was 80% close to coming in, which was reported by David Land and Adam Stern. Both were talking about Dodge is really close to coming in. So that was the last time I heard anything about it. Moulton, I mean, return tour him, not. I meant return tour, not him returning back down to Xfinity. My fault. Oh, talking about Cole Custer. Yeah, I think Cole Custer will probably stay in Cup. They'll probably just move him over to Rick Ware Racing. Would be my guess. Thumbs up, LaJoy. Faster with Finnegan. Yeah, for sure. Ghost. Faster with Finnegan is on the Motor Trend Network if you want to check that out. Justin Haley has been good. Honestly, better than people think. Moulton said, "Yeah, I'm not trying to knock Justin Haley. I'm just saying there's, in my opinion, better people I would put in that car since they basically fund their own deal over there at Colleague. I'm not trying to knock Justin Haley. I know why they made the move they made. They're betting on the future, and they're trying to get him as much experience now so he's not behind the learning curve that all these other guys are getting this year. Like, if you left him down there this year, these guys would have a year with this car that he didn't have. So they put him up now to go ahead and give him the year with this car. So they're betting on him for the future. For sure. I understand why they made the move they made, but I still think they rushed him up just a little bit too quickly. But that being said, from their perspective, they did the right thing. So I get it. I'm not trying to take anything away from Colleague or Justin Haley at all. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. Will never happen with the Dillon family, said Michael Honeychuck. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, there's just there's all kinds of the RCR stuff like that. You just never know. Like I said, it's fun to talk about, but I haven't heard anything about RCR selling to anybody. So as much as I want Ross to win the championship, Chase deserves this because 2020 was mostly a video game. I think they both can win. I don't know. Sorry, I'm fighting a little bit of from last night. I don't know if it's a head cold or something, but I'm not 100%. Yeah, I think they both got a good chance of winning this year. But Chase is definitely having a super consistent season, and Ross has been right there with him. Ross has had a very consistent season considering all the people that he's gotten into allegedly. Train 420, 24 for the win today. Not a bad pick. He is actually on the list. He is 12th on my ratings for this particular track. Let's see. I thought Dodge wasn't until 2024. Said Angus 420. Yeah, that would be the earliest they could come in because they would have to already have approved a nose and things like that for 2023. Yeah, 2024 is going to be the earliest Dodge can come in. Josh Berry needs to be in Xfinity full time. What are they waiting for? He's Mark Wachowski. He is full time this year. Can we get the 5 lug and wheel hubs back? I really don't understand what the goal is of a single, said John Bonbright. So the idea of the single lug nut, and I agree with you. I think they should bring back the 5, but the idea behind the single lug nut was this: it's allegedly safer because it has more holding force than the 5 lug nuts. But that being said, NASCAR's version of the single lug nut has been a disaster. Why they didn't just copy F1 or IndyCar and then beef it up because these cars are heavier and have more force, I don't know. But NASCAR decided to do their own version of the single lug nut instead of just doing what IndyCar and F1 do. And NASCAR it's not gone well so far. Probably an unpopular opinion, but Xfinity needs to go back to V6 motors like the Grand Nationals did back in the day. The sound was so unique, Angus 420 said. Yeah, a lot of people, the sound, they did not like it at all. So if they could do something, it would be a good opportunity for MagnaFlow or Flowmaster to get into the series like that. If they could make the sound a little more appealing, it would still be a different sound than the V8s. But if they go to V6s or something like that, like I don't think it would be the biggest deal in the world. The actual reason they got away from the V6s in that series were reliability issues, which is ironic because they were using at least Chevrolet was using the Buick V6. And as far as road cars goes, that Buick V6 is actually considered one of the most reliable motors ever created by General Motors. Good afternoon. How'd racing go, old home guy? We got second place in the race, old home guy. So pretty stoked about that. First, that's the highest any car with my little tiny sponsorship logo has ever finished. So I was pretty stoked about that. We've won races before, just not with cars that had my little sticker on them. So I root for Chase Elliott, but Chastain is a worthy contender to him, said Flash Racing Entertainment. I agree with that. Chase Elliott's had the best year, but Ross Chastain is definitely the upstart, the guy we didn't think about at the beginning of the season, but he's definitely announced his presence and he is here to compete for a title. Puny Hunk said, me, a Kyle Larson fan who just found out today that he hasn't won in 6 months, is still waiting on the second win, unless this is going to turn into another 2019 season. Yeah. It just feels like a bummer after last season. It feels like he's having a bad season, even though he's really not. He's had good finishes. Just not the season last year where he won 10 races, where he was winning basically like every other week. So it is what it is. Goodies Dash series were also V6s at Flash Racing for sure. Or were they 4 cylinders? I can't remember. But yeah, NASCAR has raced a little bit of every type of motor. At some point, Enzo said, "No Kyle Larson in your final 4 picks." BB, as of right now, I'm leaning toward no, but I'm a Kyle Larson fan, so me personally, I'm putting him in there. Just going by the numbers, which I do for stuff like that. He hasn't had the season. He hasn't won enough races or contended for race wins consistently enough for me to see him making the final 4. He's definitely going to make the final 8, but for him to make the final 4, it's going to take one of these. It's usually 2 consistent guys like Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain, and it's usually 2 really erratic guys that just win races and then crash a bunch in the playoffs. So that's why I went with like Denny Hamlin, and also consistency wise, I'm going with Ryan Blaney. But my other pick there being Joe Logano. Joe Logano has won a bunch of races. He's won 2 races this season. So he's a guy I could see getting in there. Like, I would actually be more comfortable with Kyle Larson having a season where he won a couple races and was having some races where he just was like nowhere in sight. But he's just sort of he's just been sort of really consistent after that win this season. So I don't know. But this is typically the point of the season where Hendrick gets hot, so I think we could see him start stacking some wins. So that would definitely change my predictions on that. Michael Honeychuck said Xfinity will be electric cars. A lot of people think that. I think the electric cars are going to be a whole separate series, but a lot of people agree with you, Michael Honeychuck. That is for sure. I was there when we lost Earnhart. He would be 70 if he was still alive today. Would love to hear his comments on NASCAR today. Free to pay, free. Said, yeah, I think things would be a lot different if he had survived, but things are a lot different because he didn't survive. So it's just one of those rabbit holes you can go down one way or the other, right? So hard to say, but he definitely would have had some opinions for sure. I would love to see Dale Earnhardt Sr. on social media. I think that would be a trip. Old home guy says Eric Jones is bringing in the 43 back to victory lane today. Yeah, I for sure could see that. No doubt about it. Those 4.6 V6 Vortex, in my opinion, put out more power than the 5.3. I think they might have more torque or something like that. I'm not sure. It just depends on who builds what, I guess, Angus, 420. But yeah, you can't go wrong with the 4.6. The 4.3 they had was good for a V6 was good too for a while. I'm going to root for Chastain. It's probably built on the same block, to be honest. I'm going to root for Chastain since Busch is out with a head injury. They need to fix the cars. That's a good point, Robin Marks. Struggle bus right now. For sure. They definitely need to make these things. They need to put some type of crumple zone in to lessen the impact or do something with how the impact goes through the seat. They could do it down there too as well, but they definitely need to do something there to lessen the force going straight into the driver, because that seems to be a significant issue that a lot of people have talked about. Larson hasn't had winning speed, but he's been second to fifth in speed. I agree with that, Puny Hunk. And like I said, I would put Larson in my Final Four personally, but if I'm just going by the numbers, I would have those other guys in there. But we will get to that as the playoffs get closer. We will get to those predictions as well. I did the way too early season preview, and I can't remember if I did the points, but I think I did pick the 16 final drivers. So we will address that at the end of the season. Larson hasn't had. I just talked about Taylor Gray woke up and in the morning choosing violence last night, truck race. He was a menace to society in the race. How many times he has made contact with everyone? It was hilarious. Taylor Gray is aggressive. He raced us at Orange County. He was a heck of a driver in late models. Still super young. I think he's like maybe 18 now. Sorry, struggling. But he's always been aggressive. The funny story I got about him is a guy named Chuck Lawson, who we were working for. He had a really tight race car at Orange County, and Taylor Gray was in second, and he kept ramming Chuck. He was like boom, boom. He was trying to get by him, and he wasn't ramming him. He was trying to move him out of the way. But on the final lap, he tried to just like pile it in and hit him. And the funny thing about a tight race car is you actually de-wedge it when you hit it. So every time he hit the back end of Chuck's car, he was actually helping us out. So he needed a different strategy to win that race. So if you're in front of Taylor Gray, you want a tight race car because he's not afraid to be aggressive and use the bumper. And I don't have a problem with that personally. I don't have a problem with how any driver drives. I'm not going to sit here and clutch my pearls. The only time I really have an issue with it is when somebody races you clean and gets by you, and then you slam back into them and pass them dirty. That's hard to watch because I'm a big fan of race people, how they race you. So that's my issue. Camaro 50, what's up, man? Appreciate the little shout out there, the $5 super chat, man. Thank you so much. Got the cool emoji. The little dancing pear looking guy there. I like that. That's good looking. I appreciate it. Camaro 50. Thank you. Thank everybody that supports the channel. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see. Camaro 50. I don't think Larson hasn't quite figured out the new generation car. When he does, watch out. That's a good point, Camaro 50. Very good point. So the people that have figured the car out so far have all had super late model cars in their background. If you look at Ryan Blaney second in points, if you look at Chase Elliott, if you look at Ross Chastain, they were all just absolute studs in super late models. And you're seeing that transfer over to their abilities in this car. So I think it's safe to say that this car at least has some type of similarity to a super late model. So I think that's why you're seeing those guys run well in it. I think Kyle Larson would be well served to go down and race some super late model races and see what he can do. I've got 2000 2005 with a Vortec 7.4 big block. It's one of the last 100 off the line. It's a single cab long box. That thing is unstoppable, said Angus 420. Sounds like a stout ride. Those 7.4s are no joke. And everybody likes a nice 2500. The K series, of course, very, very popular body style as well. NASCAR has the in-car YouTube stream. It's Truex. Cool. So that's really cool. You brought that up, Robin Marks, because he might be the winner today. So it might be a boring in car because it might just be a whole lot of that guy looking out the front window, or maybe they can look out the bumper. But he might be the guy that gets up there and runs away with it. If you're going strictly by the numbers, Dev says, I hope Truex comes through. Fly Away Duck Club says Corey LaJoie's future. I think he stays with that 7 car. There's no reason I could see them getting rid of Corey LaJoie. The only reason Corey LaJoie would not be there is if he got a better ride somewhere else, which I'd like to see somebody take a chance on him. The 8 car would also be a good destination for Corey LaJoie. Him, Josh Berry, and Austin Hill would have to be my picks for the 8 car, unless a dark horse comes out that I'm not thinking of. Kyle Larson races 3 to 4 times a week. He wins a lot of sprint car races. I would say his Cup career needs a little more fine tuning to catch up with his talents. So, Mark Wachowski, that's a fair argument. I think if he could dial back just for this particular car until he gets a feel for it, if he would dial back the dirt racing and start racing, like I just said, some super late models on Saturdays, I think the super late model would sort of start giving him the feel he needs. Because like I just mentioned, those other guys that are doing good with this car, they race super late models. So keep racing the dirt races, but also mix in some super late model races as well. That would be a good question. Old Home Guy said, how close to 7,000 are you? I think like 10 or 11 last time I looked. I haven't seen it in like 2 days, so I couldn't. Like I said, I'm literally just getting going. I woke up this morning and did a few things, but I feel like crap. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if it's just exhaustion or if I've got like a head cold or something, but I'm fighting something here. But last time I looked at it, I was like around 11, Old Home Guy. So 11 more people, and we'll be at 7,000. And I will make the video on how to cook a bologna burger for you guys in all 3 ways: the Ace Speedway style, the Orange County style, and the South Boston style. And I will throw in an extra. I will throw in my underrated favorite style of bologna burger as well. I raced with Taylor Gray once in iRacing. It was trucks at Martinsville. We kept battling for the lead every lap. I was pinching him, and he never came up and wrecked me for the win. It was clean. I said puny hunk. Yeah, he. I'm sure he's super talented. The guy's good. I'm not taking anything away from him. I have no problem with him using the bumper or not using the bumper. And like I said, when he was racing Chuck, he was like maybe 14 or 15. So long time ago, not super long ago, but long enough ago. I'm not saying he's a dirty driver. I'm just saying he's not afraid to use the bumper for sure. Larson, and I don't have a problem with it either way. Like I said, just race people the way you race them. That's just my sort of go-to on that. Mark Wachowski said 12 away from 7,000. All right, so that's where we're at. 12 away from 7,000. We're working on it, trying to get there. LaJoie to the 10. Oh yeah, that would be a good fit too. Angus 420. I like that. Larson got out of the car after qualifying and went and raced. I think that was sprint car. He raced the Knoxville Nationals. Angus, that's where he went. And I think they held up the show for him to get there, according to David Land on Twitter, if I was reading that correctly. Like I said, all the stuff I followed yesterday was just through Twitter or through scoring and timing. We need Kyle Petty back in the booth instead of Burton. Petty brings up excitement and speaks nothing but facts. He doesn't get emotional like Jeff Burton. I agree. Like Kyle Petty brings a perspective. He's not afraid to make somebody mad, and B, he is not afraid to give an actual opinion that is not necessarily emotionally based. It's usually by the numbers based, like something he's noticed or something factually by the numbers. He adds an interesting perspective. I would love, and nothing against Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton just has a thing against Ross Chastain that's been glaring. But I pulled for Jeff Burton when he was at RCR. I don't have anything against Jeff Burton. It's just been sort of glaring that he does not like Ross Chastain, and it's been super weird because he's normally been sort of by the book, Jeff Burton, but this season not so much. But I'd love to see Kyle Petty in there. Robin Mark says you caught the thing. Nah, it's not that. No fever, nothing like that. Where will Ty Dillon go? I think it's just exhaustion, just being awake too long for too many days in a row. I don't know where Ty Dillon. Sorry for clearing my throat there. Didn't mean to do that on camera. Where will Ty Dillon go? But I might have to do it again here in a minute. Where will Ty Dillon go? I don't have any idea where Ty Dillon's going. I don't think he goes to the 8 car because he said repeatedly he doesn't want to go to race for his grandpa. He wants to make it on his own. Have you been or plan on going to North Wilkesboro? I'm going to go there for the cars race. Keith Coterie. I will be there for that. Molten Rage says Taylor Gray. I like to watch him, and just because he's fun to watch. Someone be so aggressive and be a complete menace on the track and making contact with everyone. It's just fun to watch him be a menace. He's very much like Ross Chastain. He's going for wins and he doesn't care about second place. He's got a lot of personality to him. He's going to be a polarizing, and I think certainly he will get at the very least to Xfinity. I think at some point you will see him drive Cup. I'll just go ahead and say that about the kid. But Taylor Gray is going to be a polarizing driver because he's going to have a lot of personality. I see him being very similar to Noah Gragson personality wise, and he definitely can wheel a race car. So he's going to be a big name. He's somebody I've tabbed to be a big name. He's one of the next drivers you're going to see. I'm not sure driving a super late model would help Larson with the Gen 7, said Puny Hunk. Maybe not in iRacing. In iRacing, it's sort of like it drives more like a late model, according to some people I've talked to. Landon Pimpleton, who's a driver in ARCA. I used to work with him. He said it drives more like a late model than anything else. So I think just driving an actual super, the actual car, is something about the throttle response, because you're in a super, you're playing with a lot of stagger and a lot of throttle response. And I think that those skills are definitely paying off for the current drivers, but I think everybody else will catch up eventually either way. So it's a big tire saving deal in supers. So I think for whatever reason, that's sort of translating better to this car. Burton sounds too similar to Junior. Also, Adam Conklin. Yeah, my mom can't tell them apart. She never knows who's saying what. There's no car whatsoever that's similar to the next gen. Not any. I still find it weird that they race Xfinity too, because that's just radically different. Yeah, I agree with you there, but I think there are certain aspects to something, because it seems like all the super late model guys seem to be doing really well with this car, and I don't think that is. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's something about a super late model that is somehow translated to this car, and I don't know exactly what it is. Like, I can't put my finger on it because I've never been in a super late model, and I've never actually worked on a super late model. So, but it's something. It's something. It might even just be the power to weight ratio or something. I don't know, but it's something that those guys have. That the other guys have, because the other car definitely seemed to favor dirt drivers, right? So I think it's not necessarily anything about the car itself. It's just something you pick up doing that type of racing. Do you think Clint Boyer will be back, or will he get canceled? I think Clint Boyer will be back. I think it's just an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. I mean, sometimes stuff like that happens, and just because you're famous, you're not immune to it. But according to all the reports, he didn't do anything wrong. Just a very tragic situation for everybody involved. What is a series they raced in at IRC that was old NASCAR bodies that people bought? What was that? I mean, I remember ARCA used to do that. ARCA is basically old NASCAR bodies. I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I do remember something like that. I know Joe Nemechek runs it sometimes. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Molten Rage said, imagine Taylor Gray in the 9. Dale Jr. replaces an over-aggressive menace with another over-aggressive menace. That would be funny to watch. Not far out of the realm of possibility, although I think Taylor Gray is signed with Ford, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder when they're going to get the next gen truck or Xfinity car. That's a good question, Flash Entertainment. Probably within the next 4 years, 3 to 4 years, I would imagine. Let 2024 pass when there seems to be another adjustments to the next gen, and then I think you'll start seeing some stuff trickle down. I don't know which series they'll focus on first. At this point, letting all the drivers run cars straight off the dealer lot with no mods, no removal of anything, stock tires, will probably be safer than the next gen car. Said Angus 420. A lot of people believe that. I was wrong, BB. Last November, I said you would be at 5,000 subscribers in one more year. Let me change that to 10,000. Man, I hope so. That would be super cool. Free to pay. I'm appreciative no matter what number it is. Just beyond anything I've ever imagined, and I appreciate all you, everybody that watches. What the F does Kyle Petty have to do with this? I had to do it, said Sam Deloche. That is a great T-shirt you can pick up at juniormotorsports.com. Sam Deloach referencing that from Dale Jr.'s podcast where he was talking with Mike Joy. So check that episode out if you haven't seen that. The Dale Jr. download. That was a pretty funny moment. And they do have T-shirts out, and the T-shirts are pretty cool. The T-shirts reference the old Silver Bullet car that Kyle Petty drove that was pink and blue. One of the best looking cars ever made, in my opinion. They already got the next gen truck. The next truck is basically the next gen truck. It's completely different from original last year. Junior podcast. Yeah, pretty much. The Dale Jr. download. He's probably got the, not even just for racing, he's probably got one of the top 5 podcasts going right now. Clint wasn't under the influence. The person was on something, walking onto an on-ramp. Clint tried to call the police. Yeah, this is a bad situation. I agree with that, Robin Marks. Just a terrible deal. Remember when Dodge came in last time? They said they would need time to develop a body. NASCAR said just use the Ford bodies. Ray bought from the 94 team, so Dodge might not be that far away. Yeah, I agree with you, but there's like this approval process and everything. And the reason I say that is everything I've read is that, and the bodies are all the same now anyway. It's just the nose. The nose is different from my understanding. 2024 is the year from everything that I've seen and read. You will hit 10K before this time next year, says Sam Deloche. That would be cool. I hope so. That would be really awesome. But I try to stop chasing numbers. I try to just have fun with this because I was stressing out so much about trying to have this many and that, and it's just not cool. So I just started relaxing and just sort of doing my thing, and that seems to have worked out better. So I just try to make this better because I was putting out episodes and there wasn't really enough content to put out an episode. So I'm just now I'm doing the news as it comes and as I can do it instead of just pushing and trying to hit a certain number. But I do appreciate everybody, and I'm just trying to make this channel as good as it can be for all of us, so we can all enjoy it. Does RCR ever sell, or do they hand it over to the family and let Mike Dillon run the operation? If I had to guess, I'm guessing they let Mike Dillon run the operation, and they might at some point merge with Colleague. Would be my only thoughts on that. Thoughts on Gragson to the 42 in 2023. I like it. I think it's the best move for him. I know Colleague I know Petty GMS just came out and said they want to win and win right now, but I still think Noah Gragson will get more time in that 42 than if he went to any other big team. I think they'll be more patient with him. So I think it's the best pick for him. Free to pay said, I like Ward Burton, BB, but thank God for the mute button. For sure. Jeff Burton, I think is what you meant there, but for sure. Jeff Burton definitely rubs people the wrong way. BB, I love you deal here, man. You're a race fan talking racing like a grown up. I appreciate it, Mr. J. I do the best I can. And that's all I can say about that. I never knew Scott was Lane's father. I remember Scott 30 years ago in the Busch series. Yeah, Scott Riggs was he didn't necessarily pick or was involved with Cup teams, sort of the Neil Bonnet syndrome. His Cup career, he was never in super great equipment, but his claim to fame in the Cup series is he picked Rodney Childers as his crew chief. So he's the one that put Rodney Childers on right before he was cycled out of Cup, basically, or out of that ride that Rodney Childers was crew chief. And But Scott was a beast in the Truck Series and in Xfinity or Busch Series back then. He's definitely a good driver, and Lane is definitely walking in those footsteps. Lane is definitely a good driver too. He might win the national championship this year. Cassandra Keller, good for you. Thank you, Cassandra. I like small channels because of the ability for fan interaction on live streams. Yeah, I do too, and I just really appreciate it. No matter how big I get, I'm gonna always keep the live streams going because they've been super cool and they've definitely been a blessing. I just like talking with everybody because, like I said, this I like YouTube because it's a community and like we're all in this together. We're all part of this channel. I'm just the one talking. You're doing a great job. I watch all the YouTube guys. You're the best, most genuine. Thank you, Robin Marks. All those guys have been super nice to me, though. I'm never gonna bash another YouTuber. Like all of those other YouTubers have been super helpful. They've given me tips. They've given me advice. Every single one of them. So I appreciate all of them. YouTube career is nothing to stress over. It should be something you can have fun with. Oh, for sure. Like definitely not doing this for the money. Flash racing, as you're aware, I'm sure. Yeah, I agree. Never let your hobby stress you out because then it's no longer a hobby; it's a job. That's definitely good advice. Yeah, I remember Scott Riggs running the 10 Valvoline car like in 03, 04, 05, I think. Yeah, somewhere in there, and then he ran the 10 for Evernham with Stanley Black and Decker and Valvoline. So, but the 10 car for Evernham was never a great car, as we found out with hindsight. Next year for Noah Gragson, I expect at least a top 25 points finish. Oh yeah, he'll definitely get that. BB being real is the most important than the numbers. Keep it up. You're doing a great job. Thanks, Mark Barnum. I appreciate it. I always forget that the 10 car was an Evernham car before it looked nothing like the rest. Oh, yeah. So it was MB2 Motorsports, which was just a Valvoline owned team. And then Evernham bought them out and it cycled it into Evernham. So for 1 or 2 seasons, Scott drove for MB2 and then he drove for Evernham that final season. And then he bounced around with some teams. Fun fact, he was actually with Haas. He was going to be the Haas driver, and then it became Stuart Haas, and they cycled him out for Ryan Newman. So if they had kept him, he would have been the first Stuart Haas driver. But it ended up being Ryan Newman, and history is history. Hey, Kyle, Rodney Collier, what's up, man? Hey, Kyle, if Kyle Busch goes to SHR, will he change his truck teams to Ford? Opinions, piece. So I think he will change it to Ford because you sign a driver contract with Ford. And if you sign a driver contract with Ford, I don't see Toyota working with you on the truck side of things, not getting as much technical help as you normally would. So I think it would just make sense for him to switch it over to Ford. That's my thoughts on that. So I think whoever signs Kyle Busch gets a truck team, and that's why I think that. So I think that is part of the negotiation as well. Clean Clo, that 10 Nesquik car in the Busch Series, Xfinity Series, yeah, that thing was awesome. The Green brothers drove it also, but Scott Riggs drove it too, and he was really close to getting a championship. Love the live streams and the weekly updates. One wise guy, I appreciate it, man, and I will keep them coming. JRM 29, that's right, nothing looked like them. Yeah, they were definitely clean race cars. I loved them. They were good looking race cars. Yeah, Ray was told to use Elliott's Taurus cars. That's right. Yeah, from Bill Elliott, I guess, had his own team when Ray Evernham bought out the 94. Are you going to Martinsville in October, said Rodney. Yeah, I do plan on it. I plan on going to Martinsville in October, and I plan on going to Phoenix for the final race. I love the content. Please do it out of enjoyment. The rest will figure itself out. Ryan Gallagher, yeah, that's for sure. I just got super. I don't know. I've got this weird competitive work ethic thing. I think it comes from late models, where I was just trying to get as many as possible, and I was stressing and putting out content where sometimes it wasn't even worth putting out because it was just small tidbits of news I could have waited to put in regular news. So I stopped doing that, and I think it's been beneficial to everybody and everything. So we'll do it like we've been doing it here in the future. Like I said, some weeks I put out 7 videos. Some weeks, I'll put out 3 or 4. So it is what it is. I learned that pretty quick. So not to stress out and to press it. Everybody talking about drivers replacing drivers at JGR. Bruh, just let me drive the 18, please. Said Puny Hunk. Plug him in there. Give him a shot. Show him your iRacing numbers, Puny Hunk. Tell him you want to get in there. At least put you in an ARCA car. All right, old home guy, explain why the early Dodges were so god awfully. That explains why the old Dodges were so god awfully ugly. Yeah, for sure. And I think I've got one. Yeah. So let's see here. Oh, forgot I had the headset on. So that's the old Casey Kane. Oh man, I'm gonna put the headphones on. It's so weird. So that's the old Casey Kane, and you can see just the Ford rear end, Ford body, and then they just put the old Dodge nose on it. So that was that, and this is actually the Dodge nose that was changed. That was the Charger nose. The other one is actually different than that, but I can't reach that one. I got a Ward Burton one back there. That's the that would be. You know what? Let's do it. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. That was definitely the Ford rear end, and then like the whole thing, Ford window there, and then complete Ford body, and then they just put the Intrepid nose on it. So definitely a Ford, and they just let him put a different nose on it. But those I was so stoked that the Intrepid was back because my first car was a hand-me-down Intrepid. Was the first car I drove. A '93 black Dodge Intrepid. So I was pretty stoked about that. My first actual car was a '72 Nova, but that got stolen. Oh goodness! I'm gonna wrap it here up in about 10 minutes. Voice is fading. Can barely talk. Like I'm dealing with a little head cold, or just I stayed up too long and vocals aren't working. Charger and Intrepid diecasts were fascinating. That's for sure, because it was definitely basically just a Ford, and it had a just a different nose on it. I would like to see John Hunter to the 9. I think he's a strong candidate for that car. My father used to fly for Ward Burton when he was in that 22 car. Those were the days. Puny Hunk said, "Yeah, for sure, man." Ward and Jeff Burton actually had a guy out of Roxborough, North Carolina, that flew him too. But definitely, Ward Burton's a character. If you follow him on, let's see, Instagram, I think he's always picking up snakes. He's big into wild. He's always been big into wildlife, but he's big into wildlife conservation now. He's always picking up snakes and finding these random animals in the woods. It's pretty cool to follow him. But he's always picking up a snake and holding it, and he's always just like, yeah, and he'll be like, oh, this thing bit me. So he's pretty wild, dude. I can imagine there's some stories for sure. Old home guy, sorry to make you move around with. Oh man, don't worry about that, old home guy. Not a problem at all. I just feel like crap today, and I'm being whiny and complaining like any man with a head cold. It's almost like giving childbirth. So it is what it is, and that's a joke, by the way. Let's see. And my first car was a Datsun Robin Marks. Oh, those Datsuns were awesome back in the day. Originally, Nissan, when they first came over here, they didn't want to use Nissan just in case it didn't work out. So they named them Datsuns. And then when they took off, they named them Nissans. I would like to see Zane Smith to the number 9, said Mark Barnum. Zane Smith's a driver. Like, if they can get him out of that Ford contract, he definitely would have to be one of your picks there. Skylar Fitzgerald. 01 Lumina, those were cool, man. They look just like the Monte Carlo, except they had 4 doors. Those Luminas were pretty tough. Let's see. You can get some tea with lemon for that throat for sure, Cassandra. But I don't have any lemon with me, and I think I am out of hot tea. But I'm definitely gonna get that on the grocery list for sure. I appreciate that, Cassandra. What's going on, y'all? Just got back from getting groceries. Rich L, what's up, buddy? We're gonna run here for just a little bit longer, Rich. But I appreciate you playing goalie as always. Take some cod liver oil and for it and some vitamin D. Said Robin Marks. I will definitely do that. Let's see. I got some cod liver oil pills, so I'll check them. I will try them with the tea, and I'm out in the sun plenty, so I'm sure the vitamin D is good there. Scott Riggs, really was Scott Riggs really that bad? 4 top 5, 6 top 10s, 3 poles. I know he was a bust, but he will really be. But will he really? But will he really that bad of a driver? I think he was fine. Just could have been better, but wasn't bad. So yeah, he had some good runs. He almost won the Coke 600, and something stupid happened. I can't remember exactly what happened one year, but he won the All-Star Open. So he's, which I count wins like that personally. So he did win in a Cup car, even if it's just the All-Star Open or something like that. But I do count those. I don't personally consider Scott Riggs a bust. I just consider him a guy that got shuffled out. Like, it just didn't go his way. He was never in the best equipment. And I think he did what he could do in the equipment he was in. He got, several finishes. And like I said, that 10 Evernham car was never the best Evernham car, as we found out later on. But he did as good as anybody could do in that equipment. Scott Riggs was definitely a driver. The people that say he's a bust, I just disagree with them. But it is what it is. I see. I mean, outside looking in, he definitely could drive. I'll never see the guy as a bust. Jordan Dyer said race day. Yeah, that is for sure. And like I said, I'm going to wrap this up here in just a few minutes. Ward has more Daytona 500 wins than Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and a few others. Flash Racing said the interesting thing about Ward Burton is, check my stats on this, but I think he is the only guy that won a Cup race in Bill Davis equipment. Check my facts on that. I might be wrong, but I think he was the only guy that won a race in Bill Davis equipment. Everybody else got in that car and struggled, but Ward Burton won a race in it, and he was loyal to him and he stuck with him. But if Ward Burton had gone to a different team, a better race car team, Ward Burton could have stacked up so many more wins, in my opinion. Same thing, like same situation we're kind of talking about with Scott Riggs. If Scott Riggs had been in better equipment, especially in those eras that these guys were racing in, they would have had a lot more wins, and I think they were definitely good drivers. And I'm being a serious homer because they both raced at Orange County and South Boston, so I know I'm being a homer. But I think those guys were top notch, no doubt about it. My first car was an '88 Camaro, Mr. J. That's an awesome car, man. I'd like to have one of those now. I did have a '96 Camaro Z28, but eventually sold it during one of the original gasoline crises. Zane Smith to the 41 in Cup said Puny Hunk. That could definitely be a situation that works out because he is lined up with Ford already. First car was a '68 Dodge Charger. That's awesome, Cassandra. Old Dukes of Hazzard car, I think. Theirs was either a '68 or a '69, but that's definitely a cool car to have. My first car was a '63 Impala convertible. Oh, that's awesome, man. What is it? Rolling in my 6.4. So I think that's a pretty similar body. That was a very popular car in the '90s. I'm sure it still is now. Lowrider scene for sure. If the new Cup Dodges look anything like the Dodges that race in Canada's Piney's Car Series, they will be sharp. Yeah, that's for sure. If you want to see what a Dodge Challenger looks like, very similar to a Cup car, look at the Piney Series cars. I think Pete Shepard drove one. Alex LeBay, I think, drove one. And daggum, who was the guy? Oh, you know what? In the cars race, there was a guy from Nova Scotia the other night, Mick something. I have to look that up. But yeah, oh, sorry, the guy got distracted. The Piney's cars, check them out. They got plenty of Dodge Challengers over there. They're definitely awesome. Hoping to see Zane Smith go to RFK, said Rich L. Yeah, that for sure would be cool. Some beer suds during the race will cure you, especially if you fall into a nap during the race. That's for sure too. I don't want to fall into a nap though. I got to cover the whole thing. Cover it accurately. I can't be putting myself to sleep with beverages. That's not responsible. Let's see. Does anybody remember when Poole was driving the 15 car in 2020 with the mosquito sponsor? I don't remember any of Brendan Poole's sponsors, unfortunately, but he had a bunch of them. Kyle Busch is so weird that he is in the Hall of Fame looking driver and still hasn't won a Daytona 500. Yeah, it's basically the similar deal with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart never got his, if I remember correctly. I remember Blaney got the first pole for Toyota in 22, but no one wins there. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Camaro 50 feel better. I appreciate it, Camaro. Thank you so much, man. Mark, my first car was a 68 Chevy Impala hardtop. Yeah, those were cool too. All those old Impalas were awesome, man. Rich L, those things were tough. My dad had a white one. He called it Oscar, and he drag raced it. It was basically stock, but he would make deals in the parking lot, and he took some money and some trophies that way. There's more action in the parking lot of the drag strip than actually on the racetrack. That's all I'll say about that. Do you think the points format will change? There might be more winners than playoff spots. Yeah, I hope so, Maverick. I hope this year exposes it and gets so much scrutiny that they have to change it back to regular season points and do something normal so we can have champions that can at least be sort of compared to other champions. No offense to anybody who won a championship under the current system. They won it under the system they were under, and they knew the rules. Everybody knew the rules going in, so I'm not taking anything away from anybody that won a championship under this system. It's just hard to compare them to other past champions. My first car was a junk four-cylinder 1997 Ford Ranger that had no shocks, no reverse, with leak gas. It filled over 3/4 of the way full. The radio sort of shut out sometimes and shut off the truck, Angus 420 said. And I bet that thing is still running. Somebody still got it running somewhere. Those Ford Rangers are tough, man. Those things are still on the road. You see tons of them still on the road. My brother had a 63 Chevy Biscayne. Oh, those are cool, too. Rich L said, yeah, Chevy made some good looking cars back in the day. I'm not in love with some of their designs currently, but back in the day, they had some good looking stuff. I mean, the Corvette and the Camaro still look good, but I'm talking about their everyday cars. Not as good as they once were. I guess you can say that about any manufacturer, though. Honestly, my second. Have you seen the new Mustang? I think Ford ruined the Mustang, by the way. Just like Chevy ruined the last generation of Camaro when they changed the nose on it. But neither one did a great job revising. My second car was a boat, the Delta 88 Oldsmobile, Robin Marks, with a hitch. It was over 22 feet long. Good grief. Yeah, that is a monster car for sure. How many people remember Oldsmobile? That was awesome. Awesome brand, the old Skull Bandit Oldsmobile. How many different late model series are there, like Sprint and Arca? Oh, man. Whew. As far as touring, there's only like 2 or 3 big ones. You got the Carolina Pro in my area. You got the Carolina Pro late model. You got the Cars Tour. The Cars Tour would definitely be the biggest one. They get the most TV coverage, but there's definitely there's a ton of them. Too many to list. But the Cars Tour is the big one, and then there's the Carolina Pro late models, which are just super late models. The super late models have its own series too. But the pro late models are just super late models with crate motors. Let's see. Alex LeBay is a Pioneers champion, apparently. Oh yeah, Alex LeBay, he's really good. He was really good. He just needs to get in a good car. I think you'd see something in Xfinity if he was in better equipment. CPO fast. I'm in Nova Scotia, but every other person in Nova Scotia is a Mac something. Yeah, strong Scottish influence there on the names for sure. I'll look his name up, CPO, and try to figure out who it was. But they said Nova Scotia, and I thought about all my Canada viewers that we got on the channel. So I was like, yeah, I gotta give the guy a shout out. Then I proceeded to forget his name. I had a 70 Mach 1, so I wish I had that car now. Oh man, what a car, Mark Barnum, for sure. I still wish I had my Z28 too. So I'm with you. Wish I never got rid of it, but gas went sky high, and I made a terrible decision. Big white square V8 Cadillac convertibles. Oh, for sure, man. Those things were awesome. Man, any Cadillac. I think Cadillac still has good design. I've liked every Cadillac ever made. I'm a Cadillac guy for sure. I like Lincolns too. Lincolns are good looking cars too. I don't think they've ever made a super hideous Lincoln. Alex Labey is the first NASCAR Canadian champion, if I'm right, in a NASCAR sanctioned series. You could be right. And at some point, I will make a video on him when I get a chance. Labey was a spotter for his old Piney's team last week. Oh, that's pretty cool. I always like it when drivers go back and give back to the series they came from. Do you think Truex will ever win a plate race before he retires? I don't know. I don't know if he even wants to. That's a good question. I think he just looks at them as races he has to get through. But it's a plate race. Anything could happen. So, yeah. Johnny Knoxville and Willie Nelson drove in the 2006 Dukes of Hazzard for sure. I think that's a 68. The first car is a 68 Barracuda backseat laid down, Tiger front interior, 340 wedge. Tom Harris. I bet you. I hope you still have it. And if you don't have it, I bet you still have it. Paid $500 for it in a hayfield. Nice. That is a garage find or a barn find, as they call them, if I've ever seen one. I hope you still got it, dude. If not, I'll raise a glass to you because I wish I still had my Camaro as well. I always find it ironic that the car that replaced the Bronco was called the Escape. Yeah. That's pretty funny. Those Escapes were pretty decent, the first generation of them at least. The first generation wasn't too bad. They were fairly reliable. That is a car I worked on when I worked at Ford. They weren't too bad. First car, a 69 396 SS Chevelle. Nice. That's a rare motor too. The motor itself is super rare. Old home guy. Back in the day, when you didn't have a lot of money, you bought what you could afford. Only paid $175 for the Impala. Old lady from church was mine. That's for sure. Luckily, I got a hand-me-down from my mom, so she was getting a new car, so she just gave me the Intrepid. So I got lucky on that one. I did not have to buy it, but the first car I bought was a same thing with the 72 Nova. I think my family felt bad that the 72 Nova got stolen, and they handed me down their car. Oh, I say hand me down. It had, God, like 125,000 miles on it when it got handed me down, and when it finally kicked the bucket, it was at 250,000. For a Dodge Intrepid, which apparently is amazing because they didn't have the best reliability, but it was at 250 when it died. So I got 100,000 out of it myself or more. So we have the ACT tour up here in the Northeast. Try running the Thunder Road in Barre, Vermont. I'm not sure how to say that. Steve Purrier. There's tons of series all across. Yeah, like I said, the Cars Tour is just the biggest one in my area. I have heard of the ACT Tour. Struggling today. But yeah, I have heard of that one. That is big up north. Up north is typically what's really big up north is the modifieds, open wheel modifieds. You see a lot of that up north as well. But I have heard of the ACT Tour. All Nova Scotia talk makes me want lobster. So apparently they're famous for lobster. Not a huge Nova Scotia historian, but it's cool that so many people from so many different places are all talking on the same place. That is the cool thing about YouTube for sure. Matt Crafton is another driver as a spotter for his own daughter and another series, and she's above the cut line. What is going on this year? That's for sure. It's been a crazy year, Moulton. That's no doubt about that. The guy that bought my Ranger off of me paid $520 and a scrap 97 Ram 1500 ran out on 5 of the 8 cylinders, and the gas tank fell out on the way to get lumber one day. Oh man, that's rough, man. Mark Barnum had a 1957 International 1-ton 4x4. That thing would pull down a building. Was fun to mud in. Mark Barnum, man, those things are super sought after right now. Everybody wants one of those things, but yeah, International definitely. It'd be cool if they still made passenger cars, but they definitely. I think they just do semi trucks now, if I'm not mistaken. Truck Grid, Chandler Smith, Grant Enfinger, Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Tom Majeski. I'm pulling for Tom Majeski. I like Tom Majeski. Stuart Friesen, like Stuart as well. Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton, Carson Hocevar, Christian Eckes. 88, how are you above the cut line? How? Because he's just super consistent. No doubt about it. Mark Robin Marks said, got to run. Good job. Appreciate it, Robin. And peace. Enjoy the race, Kyle, said old home guy. And with that, that brings us to the end of this one. I appreciate all you guys. Sorry I was a little bit under the weather. Hopefully I'll feel better for the next one. And other than that, thanks for your time. Oh, wait, one more. Your diecast collection is impressive. How many do you have? Well over 100. I've been collecting since I was a little kid. So that is the last one. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace. Or peace. Yep, there we go. Got it up there.